Oh, hello.
What's poppin'?
How's
Okay,
it going?
so
I'm just about to
I
start this.
literally got home, like, to the point where I was walking in through the door and I heard the jingle going on my headphones.
Nice.
And I was like, "Are my neighbors just having, like, loud sex or something?" And, "Is that a cat? Like, what is that?" And I stopped and I didn't breathe even, so I could, like, figure out what it was, and I was like, "That's the Discord jingle!" Um, I need to go put the stuff I got from
Yeah, yeah,
Costco.
yeah.
It's just like a chicken, some salad, and some
Yeah,
blueberries.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Let's see. Uh, posts. Post. There we go. Whoa! Boom! Hello, Lux. I literally came into the phrase loud sex. Hey, Draco Kraken. That's right. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. What a phrase to come into. uh, but yeah, it's all good. We don't need to worry about that. Oh, let me do this before Aiden even thinks. Okay, hold on. I've gotta send the chat to the chat. There we go. Bop. Cool. I didn't think we were covering ERP. No, 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 no. No, we don't need to do that. Thank you. YouTube probably wouldn't be a big fan of that one. Probably. I don't know. I was just talking about it would be fine, probably. I don't know. We wouldn't be able to get monetized for it, probably, but we don't get monetized anyway, except for our own personal fucking thing. So, uh, it all works out really. At the end of the day. For those of you around, at the moment, Boo will be here later on. He said he might be either here or late, depending. So, at this point, I'm going to assume late, which is fine. No worries there. We've got a couple of things today. Or we have one thing that might take a long time, and if it doesn't take a super long time, I have a second thing for taking just as long, potentially. So, we shall see. We shall see, won't we? Um. Oh. I should also make sure that that is working. It is. Awesome. Go back to that. Studio mode. And we're good. Nice. Needed the break from managed democracy. Hell yeah. Taking a break, citizen? You don't need to take a break. You can just do it at the same time. What, you need to hear the enemies to shoot them? I don't understand. It'll be fine. I haven't played that for a little bit now, since we last played actually. I haven't I haven't really taken the time to play anything for the last week. I've been attempting to get those few episodes ready and going. Uh and I'm hoping that this time the episode 9 is going to be totally fine. So, those will be here soon. Hey, Pizza Funk. Yosh, indeed. I need to hear those stalkers. No. Why would you need to do that? They're fine. They're not dangerous at all. They'll just kill you. It's fine. But yeah, so hopefully this week, if that episode 9 clears, all 3 of the other episodes that were not available of Devils and Dice, the 3 blocked episodes will now be no longer blocked and actually still be able to be listened to. There are some muted sections, of course, in episode 5. 34 will be fine entirely, it just won't have any sounds. And 9, I'm hoping, will at least just have 1 muted section, and that's it. Because I went through and scrubbed it as best I could with Audacity, and, like, removed noise and stuff by getting its profiles and shit. So we'll see how that goes. But then we'll have everything all set for when we finally finish that campaign one day. Maybe. We'll see. Oh, I'll wait until he's back for that too. Any other housekeeping things? I haven't, like, updated the website in forever. I really should. But I've been keeping up with uploading the audio-only stuff, so I hope you audio-only peoples are able to audio-only to your heart's content. At least I think I have. Oh god. Now that I've said that, now I need to check, because I'm freaking myself out. Yes. Yes. Okay. It is. Very good. Oh, we've almost reached 5,000 plays. Whoa. That's cool. We have an audience size of 8. Yeah, that's about right. That all sounds pretty pretty on the level there. Some of our episodes are like 6 hours long. That's fair. People don't listen to things for like 6 hours. That's crazy. Hello, bros. Yeah, Aiden Senpai is alive. Yes, he is. He is currently putting groceries away, so he shall be here soon. Apparently NASA made a TTRPG system and setting. Yes, I saw that that was a thing. I haven't looked into it at all. I saw that it was like a dragon over their logo or something. The Lost Universe. Yeah, there it is. The Hubble Space Telescope has fucking disappeared. Holy shit. Well, I guess I'll download that. Might as well. Go into this folder over here. My other tabletop. I will make you a new folder. Lost Universe. Open parenthesis NASA TTRPG close parenthesis. There we go. So what is this even like? Let's find out together, hey? How do I make it so that we find out together? I go over here. I put that away. And I put... Is this... Yes, it is. Do this. That's small. Why is that so small? Why is that so small? Make that a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Table of contents. Oh, I gotta lock this again. There we go. Listen to a 12-hour video in one sitting once. So have I, yeah. I do that as well, just because I'd rather listen to really long shit, but, you know. What I heard, it's vaguely Star Trek-like. That makes sense. Let's see. Level 7 to 10 characters? Oh my god. You start at level 7?
And like that, you returned.
Hey, welcome back. I'm just looking at the NASA TTRPG real quick here.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's called
Uh,
Lost Universe. Anyway,
Now, Alejo, my friend,
yes,
it has been a minute since we've last
it
conversed.
has been.
If you
Yes.
are around after the show, I would love to hear how you have been.
Well, I can
Um,
I can tell you a little bit about how I've been right now if you would like. I mean, nothing. I
oh,
got.
I'm sure, but
I
like
don't
I figured there
like.
might be some stuff you're not willing to tell about in front of a live studio
Yeah,
audience.
that is fair. I don't think there's anything that's happened that is not something that I can share.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
How have you been, my friend?
I have been working.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly. It's just mostly been work, coming home, being very tired, wanting to go to sleep.
Ah, that is that adult core we call that.
Yes, it has been adult core to the max.
Ah,
Um,
brother, I have been largely the same.
yup.
Um, uh, yeah, yeah. What hours are you working, if you don't mind me
Oh,
asking?
you're good. Yeah, I work from 8 to 4, but in
Mm-hmm.
order to be set and there at work and ready to go, I get up at 6:30. Um,
Mm.
and
And you go to
then
bed at?
I try to go to bed before midnight.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, the six and a half hours is just impossible for me.
That's yeah, it's just one of those things of I mean, I've made it so that it works. Sometimes I get to bed at 10 and I'm like, shit, I had a good day. I
Yeah,
didn't I didn't do a lot, but man, I had a good day.
I I need as little as 7 and as much as 9.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And on the days when I'm on like 6.5, I'm showing up with an energy drink in my hand and caffeine pills in my pocket.
Yeah,
And
I
my coworkers are like, Aiden, are you okay? You kind of look like a tweaker. And I'm like, I kind of feel like a tweaker.
yeah, my day now I start with like a one of those shake kind of things to like it's one of those meal replacement shake things because it's
Oh,
uh
the Huel, I think.
well these are Atkins. They're keto
Oh,
friendly
okay.
and
Uh,
they're like 2 to 4 grams of net carbs, which is good. And then I found the ones that literally are coffee as well.
oh,
So
fuck yeah.
so I drink one of those, I go to work, I drink a cup of coffee, and I'm in there. You know, like
Mhm, mhm.
I'm ready to go. And sometimes if I'm feeling spicy and am okay with the pain in my chest, I get a third cup of coffee.
Dude, I have recently started like there's a cafe. Well, there's like a few cafes on the way to work for me.
Yeah,
Because I walk to work, but
yeah,
there's a cafe at the base of my hill that I go to.
yeah, yeah.
And I kind of got sick of when I ordered macchiatos being asked traditional or Starbucks.
Sure.
So I decided to just order original or traditional. Do you know what a traditional macchiato is,
I
my
have no
friend?
idea.
2 shots of espresso and some steamed milk.
Holy
Or not
shit.
steamed milk, the frothed milk.
Oh, the foamy kind of,
Yeah,
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 I
yeah,
got you.
yeah, yeah. And brother, I had my first macchiato the other day, and when I tell you that I stepped out onto the sidewalk out of the cafe and felt just like a wave hit me,
Mm-hmm.
like you know how when you step into a really hot environment
Mm-hmm.
and there's almost like a wall of heat?
Yes. Yep.
I walked into like a wall of like fucking energy
Yep.
and like let's fucking go.
Nice.
So like I fucking speed walked to my work, showed up there, and my coworkers are like, "Hey, and how's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh, caffeinated as shit still and slightly manic because of it. I am in a
Yep.
good spot, brother."
Yep. 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 Exactly. Yep. 100%. That's it. Hell, one of the days I had too much caffeine going through me. I nearly bowled over a fucking coworker who was trying to go through a door because I had to
Oh yeah.
go.
Dude. Okay. So when I was in Maine still, we sold these like carafes of cold brew coffee.
Oh yeah.
And I was on register all day and I was like kind of bored, and also the coffee was delicious.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
It's
I
fair.
drank the whole thing over the course of like 2.5
Oh
hours.
Christ.
Which is like kind of bad because
It's
it
like real
had like
bad.
800 migs in it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not good.
and I kind of realized, I'm like, wow, I feel caffeinated as shit. How much have I had? And I find out I've had like 850 or some odd. And I go, don't some monsters have like 200 migs of caffeine? And I
Yeah.
looked and I found one, and it was one of those salted caramel coffee
Yeah,
monsters.
yeah.
So I leave, grab one from the cooler, and I come back, and my coworker like looks at me shakily, like putting it on her conveyor belt, and she's like, "I don't think I can legally sell you this." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I'm going for 1 gram of caffeine." It's just like, "You're going to have a fucking foul wow." Um, and that was a night that like I was in a I was in a wonderful spot for how I felt.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, if you look in on me, you're
Yeah.
like, wow, he's in a bad way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like there was one time I needed to go to the bathroom, surprise, surprise.
Oh, crazy.
So I called my coworker to the front, and when she arrived to relieve me, I apparently just mumbled something and then started speed walking away, and she didn't even know what it was that I said. But what I had thought I had said was, "Hey, Michaela, I'm so sorry. Just need you to cover me while I run to the bathroom real
Right.
quick."
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
apparently, what she heard was,
Crazy. Absolutely insane. Yeah. Um so that was that's been me at work mostly, and then the other things that I've been doing is literally just trying to work on getting those other episodes unblocked uh
there
for
were
Devils and
episodes that were
Dice
there were episodes that were because we used
music.
something. Yeah, okay, that seems about
It
right.
was literally the Gintama music.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
That'll happen.
that'll do it. But hopefully those are gonna be fixed this week, because I as long once I get put it through the rendering after the show today, I should be able to just upload them all and get them out there, and they should be good. Um,
Oh,
so that's good. Those will be fixed. Then we have that full playlist ready for everybody. Um, and then I also installed a light in my house. Just
damn.
another light, because light.
Alejo, the handyman over here.
I really enjoy actually doing things to my house, so it's I now
Yeah,
know some things
yeah,
about
I
some
get that.
things.
Yeah,
Um,
I totally get that.
yeah. And plus it's all fucking smart things, so I can literally tell my fucking Alexa to do stuff, which that's fun. I like doing that. Um,
Um,
but that's
oh,
yeah.
not to interrupt, but
You're
I
good.
see Teardrop Timothy. Hello, by the way, Timothy. And okay, so
There's a few things.
responding to comments, yeah. Draco Kraken said, Aiden, at least you weren't drinking the deadly Panera lemonade. Dude, I retroactively want that lemonade so fucking bad.
What is that?
There was a lemonade that was caffeinated that Panera was selling,
Oh,
and
okay.
some people like OD'd on it.
Oh,
They had like heart issues and drank way too much of it because it's like
it's lemonade.
absurdly caffeinated.
Oh,
Like a basic cup of it was like I think 300 or 400 migs.
oh
They,
God,
it
that's
was
bad.
absurd. It was almost comically caffeinated.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was a podcast I follow the week after this happened.
Yeah.
Their podcast title was put the Panera lemonade in the humidifier and close the garage doors.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Um and secondly, Timothy said I drink a cold brew across the whole day all the time. Um I have a coworker from Alaska, and he mentioned that when he went to college, they would sell these cups of, they called them sludge, and it was a cup of cold brew coffee with an espresso shot in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, that sounds so fucking good, actually.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah. I would love to. Honestly, what I should do is just make cold brew again, just to tote around with me and fucking have a heart attack. It'll be great. Um, I love cold brew. Cold brew is good.
Cold brew is delicious.
Yeah. No, I have not caught Aiden up on your lore, Timothy. I'm sorry. That's all in the comments stuff, and there's a lot. So I haven't had the time. We haven't spoken for a very long time, Aiden and I. So
yeah, no, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it has been. It has been quite a bit. Time and responsibilities and energy have been at an all-time low and high, for respectively, for things.
Like, today was a very like bad day for me in terms of like busyness.
Yeah.
But then like last night I was like, oh fuck the podcast tomorrow. I've missed like 3 in a row. I will not miss tomorrow.
That's fair. At my old job, one of the managers would just hand out Adderall to his employees. Oi. Oi. Coffee with almond milk right now. Dairy-free diet. There you go. Nice. Aiden's gonna be completely unprepared for the final exam once all this lore gets finished. That's true. That's right. There will be a test. I will say, as a teacher, I had a coffee brewer in the back room who wants room temp black coffee. Woo!
Yeah, that's the tech.
Yep. Hell, literally at my job, we have our own personal Keurig thing, so we're there, we're ready. They have a bunch of pods, and I try to go for the decaf when I've had a few too many. But yeah, need to have that coffee.
I actually enjoy tea more than I enjoy coffee.
That's fair.
And I'm like kind of one of those tea snobs that thinks that if you're drinking tea like that's made with a tea bag, you're not drinking actual tea. You're just drinking flavored water. Because good God, tea bags actually suck. I don't even like tea balls.
Oh yeah.
Because like they're too restrictive on the like loose leaf tea inside them, and you can't get a proper like flavor impart, and like all you do is like scorch your tea leaves and that's it.
Yeah.
So I've got like a couple really nice infusers, and when I started my current job, I remembered that they had a tea room, and I was like, oh fuck yeah. I remember taking morning tea breaks every morning, like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can make so much fucking tea with my infusers.
Yeah.
Evening crew doesn't take tea breaks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Sad.
I brought one of my infusers to work in the naive hope that I would at least get time to take even a single tea break.
Yeah.
No.
Oof. That's just the saddest thing I've heard today.
Yeah, no, it kind of did take the wind out of my sails right now. Just recounting it, not gonna lie.
Oh. Oh. Sad. Well. Let's move on from sadness, hey? Let's move on from sadness. Well, hot leaf water, yes. What Aiden needs to know is there's a pink dragon king named Cornell that wants to be a deity and join the tournament. Yes, that is true. That will be a thing in the tournament lore. So there you go.
Okay.
I used to buy loose leaf tea. Got tired of having to order online. Fair.
Dude, I found this wonderful little tea shop in the capital of my state that a friend took me to.
Yeah.
And it's adorable. I got both of my tea infusers there. The problem is when I step in through the door, it's like it sparks the same feeling as when I walk into a bookstore of like, oh no,
Oh.
I am going to drop money. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am in a danger zone.
Yeah. That is
Um
true. Yeah.
and it's right by this place that like makes chocolates.
Oh
And
no.
and like they also sell chocolates like that they don't make but like are there's like fuck, what did I get? um it was Hawaiian dark chocolate that was made with goat's milk instead
Oh,
of
interesting.
cow's milk,
Okay.
and it tasted like it was fucking cheesecake,
Ooh.
except dark chocolate.
Ooh.
There was like I believe it was a dark chocolate I got with like Himalayan pink sea salt, or not Himalayan
Oh.
pink sea salt, Himalayan pink salt.
Yeah.
Um, it was like really good, but it's like located right next to the tea place, and I also walk in there going, "Oh no, I'm in trouble."
Yeah. Uh, the Dragonstone Empire was united, then it broke again. That's the gist of my lore. That's right. Uh, do you still have those hot plates in your lab, Aiden?
I don't recall discussing hot plates previously.
You showed us
We do.
pictures of your old, I think it was your old job, that it had a bunch of hot plates in various locations, as far as I remember. Um, and they were dangerous.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, do not touch a hot plate. We do
Oh,
have hot plates.
it was the job where you were making piranha, or you were using piranha. That one.
Oh, that was my undergraduate research.
That's right. Okay.
But no, the job I'm at now does have a shit ton of hot plates. In fact, I moved a shit ton to a shelf where we stored a bunch of them and stacked them, and brother, hot plates do not stack very well. And
No.
I was like putting them on a shelf overhead, and I was like, this is a dangerous exercise.
I wish I
Luckily, I do
wasn't.
not have to work in this room.
I wish it wasn't a 45-minute drive to the nearest town and a 3-hour drive to the nearest major city. I want cool food options too. Yeah, I don't think that I would have to go like an hour out, I think, to even find a good like tea shop, I think. I would have to look around, really. But
Yeah,
you know,
this tea shop is about an hour away from me, which is why I haven't gone.
there you go. All right. Well, um one more final thing of housekeeping before we continue on here to the actual topic for tonight. I posted this in the Discord. I posted it on a post on the channel. I posted it in our Twitter and everything. Technically, it was only supposed to be for the Patreon people, the table flippers themselves who pay. But I was so excited to remember that straw poll exists and that it's way easier than like anything to do polls. So it's out there for you to do if you're not a Patreon member. But in the future, all votes in this respect will be for Patreon members. On and of course us on the in that link, it's everywhere. Like I said, you can vote for the next system that we use for the next campaign that we do once we're done with Devils and Dice. And from what I've seen so far, Vampire is winning.
Fuck
So
yeah!
there you go. Vampire is winning so far. If you want to make it not win, I guess, you go over there and vote. And it's it's one of those ones where you can just click and drag each option so that you can rank them that way, so you don't have to just pick anything. You can just go, oh, this is the one I most want, this is the one I least want, you know? So all the options are there, and we'll probably just switch out options every now and then, depending on how we feel, in the future. So that's a thing. Go check it out. But yeah, other than that, let's move on to the actual topic of today, which is tactics and combat in D&D. And we are brought this lovely video from the Dungeon Dudes. It's been a hot minute since we covered them. This is a 3-month-old video about 10 tactical mistakes players make in combat in D&D 5e. And figured we'd see what they are, see what kind of situations might be brought about by these, and talk about resolutions as well, or maybe different implementations that we could make to prevent or I guess not, well, kind of dig yourself out of these mistakes. Not exactly the phrasing that I wanted to go with, but it conveys the thought properly enough. Do you have any ideas for mistakes that might be talked about in this video, Aiden?
I do.
Ooh.
So a lot of it comes down to positioning. Like if you get caught out, or you're think of the battle from a top-down perspective,
Yeah.
and almost like you're playing League of Legends going into a team fight.
Sure.
You need to like watch your positioning and like swing around and pivot as new threats like appear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it, the tank in the front, mage in the back,
Sure.
Cleric in the middle.
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of it also that I've noticed is improper use of like potions when you have healing spells on hand, and the healing spells come back after a long rest.
Yeah, that's right.
But then some people like take the whole like, oh, don't use potions thing like too strong, and they like absolutely leave themselves tapped for spells when we still have the rest of the dungeon to go through.
Sure. Yeah.
So a lot of it just comes down to resource management and positioning.
I would also like to posit that maybe potentially we might see somebody say something about retreating, not actually fighting to the death.
Yeah,
that might
setting
be
up, or
yeah.
like starting a combat and then appearing to run, but you're leading enemies back into an ambush.
Yes, that could also be something. But absolutely, retreating is not something that's done a lot. And I feel like that it is a mistake to not have that in your head as a valid tactic. Ambushing itself is also a good thing to practice. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah, I would also add frontline fighters. Myself especially, I'm guilty of this. We play too aggressive. And try to bite off more than we can chew. Like it's like a shark with blood in the water.
Yeah.
The second that you land the first like loss of HP on the enemy, like you kind of go into a bit of a frenzy.
Yeah, I gotta get him.
Kill him now.
Yeah. The best defense is to kill the man.
Death is the permanent CC.
Exactly. But yeah, I think, I mean, I'm interested to see what they have to say, because this, as if people remember, Dungeon Dudes is very combat focused. They really enjoy spicing up their fixes with making things very combat oriented. So probably a good channel, I would say, for talking about combative techniques and tactical stuff, though to be fair, I don't know entirely, because more we've just seen their fixes for like classes and stuff, which have led to like taking away more roleplay centric kind of things and just adding in more combat centric kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really been it. It's not really been tactical kind of stuff necessarily. So we'll see, I suppose. Not using readied actions is a good shout. Yeah, that's something that isn't utilized a lot as well because, excuse me, I'm
not a big fan of readied actions.
Well,
like,
so
I use them occasionally, but I'm not a big fan.
I understand that entirely. I think that the main reason why not using readied actions is so prevalent is because it changes your turn order. It makes it so that
That is true.
you will go later than you wanted to before because it does put you at that initiative now whenever you have it activate.
Yeah. That is a good like secondary use for readied actions.
Right.
I just like I tend to feel and granted this is me like goblining out, but
Sure.
like readied actions feel a bit resource heavy. Because they require both your action and your reaction, and you are now locked in.
It is true. It is true. It is quite a gamble as well because maybe the thing won't even happen, right? And then you've just wasted everything.
But if you do call it, it is an like game changer.
It very well can be, yeah.
If you are like activating trap cards, essentially.
Exactly, yeah. Very well could be.
Like ready actions are good. They're incredible. They're just like, for me, I don't care for them because there's that little goblin in my mind that goes, "What if you need your reaction later?"
Yeah, the only times when I see it as a benefit is if like nothing is happening in that moment. Like if it is basically a surprise round, you know, like it's already just for free in a way of like, oh, the enemy isn't even here yet. I'm gonna ready my action, right?
Yeah, or you have something where you have like cut down what you're immediately facing and you've gone around to kind of collect yourself, and it's like, okay, my options are either A, drink a healing potion, but I'm pretty good on HP, or ready in action.
Right, exactly.
Or take the help action. The help action exists.
Oh, a great shout. Yes, the help action is something that I rarely see. Absolutely. That is something that can absolutely help. In a lot of situations, ironically enough, considering the fucking actions call to help. But yeah, so use that more. The way that I utilize help more so is when I play in 5e specifically is when I play a mastermind rogue, because they get the bonus of being able to do it as a bonus action 30 feet away. It's super good. Oh. Yeah, Mastermind Rogues are fantastic. They're my favorite rogue. Because they can just, like, do shit like that, and it's fucked. And they're a rogue, so they get sneak attack. But yeah, other than that, though, if you're nearby somebody and you can't really do anything, giving them the help action is always a good thing to give them that advantage. Unless, of course, they're going to be using something that requires a saving throw. But it still carries over, I believe, so you're still fine. Neglecting items. There's a lot of useful items the players can acquire, but often see players not use them. Yes, yep. You can ruin a mage's shit with...
But Pizza Funk, number go up.
True.
Why would I care about a periaptive health when I can get a +3 longsword?
Right. You can ruin a mage's shit with readied actions. Yes, you can. That is true.
Or periaptive wound closure. That's what it was.
Total defense probably gets forgotten too. Fighting defensively even more. Total defense.
Yeah.
So 5e might not have that. I don't think 5e has that as a thing. Fighting defensively is like not a thing. But in 3.5, I remember there was stuff of like fighting defensively gave you specific things if you had something, I think. But yeah. Regardless,
sounds like some monk shit.
It does. Cover as well. Utilizing cover to its best degree is something that I don't see a lot.
Something that I am a big fan of in my games
Mm.
is utilizing the environment to your strengths.
Yes.
Largely, I like to create environments that, in some way, shape, or form, have a hazard that
Yes.
make it so that you can go in an area, but like if you choose to go in it, you're going to be like either taking constant damage, like say a house fire,
Hmm.
or there's some areas where you like if you get knocked into it, it's like an instant kill, like
Hmm.
you get knocked off a ledge and into some lava or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Or when the crocodiles were attacking the rafts, I know I've talked about before,
Mhm.
and they were going 50 feet per round. And if you fell into the river, you would like fall 50 feet behind and hope to grab onto the next raft.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, so I really like environmental effects and almost set pieces, if you will,
Yes. Yeah.
of I have been knocked into this area. What happens to me now?
Yes.
Or shadow usage in Devils and Dice.
That's right. Uh, I often find. Oh, wait. Yeah. I often find players don't ever try to investigate or research what they expect to fight. It's kind of niche, but knowing your enemy is valuable. Yes.
Yeah,
Um.
the the whole ranger subclass focuses on that.
Yeah. There used to be
And no one
even.
ever uses it because that ranger subclass sucks.
Yes. There used to be in 3.5 there was a class called the Lore Master, I believe, who literally its whole thing was researching the enemy and finding weak points and giving +1s and +2s to being able to hit things. Because of that. It was a very interesting class, and I really wanted to play it at some point. So maybe I will someday for 3.5 again. But the like yeah, stuff like that, and like just in general having role play of like, oh well, we're gonna go research what this is, and then giving them benefits of not even just not only just knowing what they're going to fight and what it could do, but also potentially giving them advantage on certain attacks or something, giving them something for putting in the effort. That's something that is just nice, and I feel like needs to be out there more. Though we're going a little ways away from tactics, technically, in the sense that I assume we're going for in this video. It is still tactical to, of course, research your enemy, but I assume in this we're going to be going from like the board. Um, they're probably forgotten in 3.52, fighting defensively, probably. Fire breath, quick, hide in a bush. Yeah. Total defense is just the RPG defense button. Yes. Which also doesn't get used much in video games. That's right. Unless you're Lubu from Three Kingdoms and just charge in and kick ass. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's start this video. It's like 30 minutes, so here we go.
So you've rolled initiative and battle is about to begin, but you don't want to be the player who makes the costly mistake that causes a TPK.
My name is Monty Martin.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin.
And we are the Dungeon
So-
Dudes. And today we're going to
Yeah.
discuss...
Yeah.
Do we have thoughts thus far?
So I immediately was like, what a very leading thing.
I understand. I understand that this is the hook,
Yes.
and that this is meant to, like make the viewer think, "Oh no, will I be that player? Oh no!"
Yeah.
But
That's a little much. It's a
so
little much.
I have had battles. There was a 5e campaign I played recently where a player opened a door with a manticore behind it, and we were like level 3, and we were all like, "You idiot! This is clearly the boss door."
Hmm.
And like, I've been in parties that have been screwed over by someone making a bad mistake in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
However, TPKs are rarely, if ever, the result of one person making a mistake.
Yeah.
That's usually a combination of bad decisions and bad dice rolls.
Exactly. It's a cascade of many different things, depending on the situation. Like, if every game it were to be you made one mistake, everybody dies, fuck. Like, that's never gonna be a fun time. At least in my
for some people.
I don't think that every, like, okay, let me amend. For most of the time, I don't think that many people are going to enjoy the one thing, like, in the beginning of your game, like, killing everybody, you know? It kind of puts a damper on everything right off the bat. If it's something that's later on, you make the one mistake, everybody dies, I mean, it can work in certain circumstances, of course. It really just depends on the situation. It really depends on what that mistake was, what the result is, all this kind of stuff. Because, hell, fucking some campaigns might end that way because you got to the end and then you were like, I choose to side with the guy. And then the guy's like, haha, idiot. Everybody dies. You know, like that could be the situation, and that could work potentially. But I don't know. I think because we've moved a lot past the save or die mostly. It's just really high level shit that happens with most of the time. So at that point, at really high level shit, it's just like, well, yeah. Otherwise, like, you're a god. So how are you going to die most of the time? Unless you're fighting a god at the time, you know?
Yeah.
But lower levels, it's like, I don't know. Save or die isn't always the best option, you know? That's just kind of what I mean with when I say the one mistake isn't very fun.
Yeah. So think of it like in FPS, right?
Sure.
TTK is something that, like, oh man, shorter TTK is a lot funner for matches, like, in some respects, but if that TTK gets too short, you absolutely lose any element of counterplay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And removing the choice from your player, or the chance from your players to have counterplay instead of just rolling over them,
yes,
is kind of a bad feel.
Exactly. That's exactly it. The hot one got glasses. Nice. There you go. All right. Yeah. So not a great hook, but I guess we'll make them anxious to the point that they need to watch our video. Here we go.
10 frustrating mistakes.
Actually, you know what? Let's do something similar.
Okay.
Audience, unless if you listen to the entirety of our video, you will cause a TPK.
Yeah, there you go.
See that, Alejo? I just drove our engagement numbers up.
Hell yeah. I'll look at the analytics.
In the midst of combat. Let's say rules mistakes. These are tactical errors.
Dude, no need.
Sometimes might cost your party hit points or even their lives, and you don't want to make them.
There's a lot to discuss today, so let's get rolling.
Oh no!
As a little disclaimer, as we get
Wow. I think their intro didn't really fit or something. I don't. It was very strange. I don't.
Get into this episode. Monty and I have made every single one of these mistakes. And if you watch our Dungeons of Drakenheim campaign, you can watch me specifically make all of these mistakes in real time.
For that reason, don't beat yourself up if you've made these mistakes or give each other a hard time about making them. It's one thing to give someone a tip of being like, hey, in the next battle, brush things up a little bit, but don't be a jerk to your fellow friends and party members if they're making these mistakes. Because, of course, the first mistake that many players make in D&D is just not working together effectively as a team. And supporting one another with constructive feedback is a good way to support your team, engage in that communication, and engage in that teamwork.
Communication might not be something that can happen at the table during combat. You might not be able to yell out, hey, you should use a fireball on your next turn, depending on how forgiving your DM is. Knowing your characters, and not only your character...
Well, you can get to the roleplay aspect of saying that, basically, right? Like, using your turn and saying, oh, fuck, light them up! You know?
Yeah. There is also... You can, I allow my my players to talk, like, out of game about, like, hey, you know, when you get this, well, let me attach a quick caveat. When you, like, get this ability off cooldown or whatever, it happens... When you put ice over an entire area to make it really slippery, it works really well for me to essentially gas the area. Hey, wow, we have a bit of natural synergy. But like I allow my players to talk about stuff like that, like, out of game.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, dude, your characters are spending literal days on the road just fucking walking. It's going to come up.
Yeah.
The part where it does get a little iffy, and I'm sometimes a little less keen on players strategizing, is like, hey, paladin, when you get this thing at level 12, it'll be really good for my thing that I got at, like, level 3 or whatever. Because it's like, how does your character know what their character gets later?
Yeah. That's
getting a bit meta.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that.
But, like, if your character has even once seen the paladin do X, Y, or Z, then yeah, it makes sense for your character to think about potential other applications.
Right. And even, like, honestly, most of the time, at least for me, during a combat, I'm fine with them talking, like, out of character. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Just in general, just because it's like, I'm like, we can all be immersive and stuff with it as much as we want to, but at the end of the day, if the combat, you just want to get through it, and, like, you're talking to your friends and shit, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna, like, fireball all these guys, you know, and it's gonna be great. And then the other guy's like, oh yeah, sick, you do that, and then I can go in and finish off the rest, you know. And it's like, okay, yeah, fuck it, let's do
it. Totally kosher.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I can understand as well having the more immersive side of, like, being so strict as to say, okay, if you're gonna say stuff, say it in character, or, oh, you only have a few seconds to talk on your turn, so just say, like, a sentence or two, and then you're good, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's all varying degrees, right? But I don't see there being too much of a problem during the tactical portion of allowing them to just talk tactics, you know, during the fight, just to make it go by a little quicker, even, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the character that everybody else is bringing to the table, what the strengths and weaknesses of the party are, being able to communicate that amongst yourselves and know what your go-to strategies are, is really going to solve every other problem that we are going to talk about in this episode. As we go down the list, if you've communicated your ideas, know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and are executing planned tactical maneuvers in battle, you're probably not going to run into the other problems.
It's very common for D&D groups to spend a ton of time overthinking and planning every move that they possibly make. And so these are conversations that can often happen offline or between sessions or between players when you talk about your favorite spells, abilities, and other class features, and possible different ways that you could use them together or work together in play. Think about what you can do as a character, think about what you like to do, and what the other party members can do, and have those conversations. And as long as you are talking to one another about what you all want to do in general in battle, and thinking about, hey, I'm not playing a solo game. I'm playing a team game. We're all in this together. There's things that I can rely on my party members for, and there's things that I have to contribute as well. And putting that in the context of a conversation, that's how you build the groundwork for a great team.
So with that as the major overlap.
Yeah, I mean, overall, communication, always good. So, yeah.
Lapping rule for all the rest of these. Let's move on to the list of all the other mistakes that play.
Alejo. Would you consider a communication in a game like D&D to be a tactical issue or just something you should be doing in general?
So this is the thing. If we're going by what they're saying, it's specifically about tactics. This communication that they're fuck me, where's my brain? Where are the words? They are promoting. They're promoting just purely tactical utilization of communication. Whereas I would say, in general, communication is just an overall thing that you should have for everything. Not necessarily all metagamey kind of stuff of like, oh, I have a +4 in my charisma, I should be the one who's talking to everybody, because that's just something that naturally you're going to be talking about anyway, and noticing from character work and all that stuff between each other.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just really, communication is so broad that I would give them this as a pass, just because, again, they've qualified it with talk to them about what you can do with your abilities, or what their abilities are, and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Players make. The second mistake that a lot of players make when they're trying to do tactical combat in D&D is not focusing fire.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes, and you can see this in our games a lot, one player will attack one enemy, the next player will attack a different enemy, the third player will attack an even different enemy, and all of a sudden you have little bits of damage all over the board, which is good. Doing damage to enemies is great, but it's better if you kill an enemy. If you take an enemy off the battlefield, they can't do damage to you anymore.
Yeah, I agree from a purely mechanical standpoint, and from a purely tactical standpoint, you should, yeah, absolutely focus fire.
I remember when I first started playing D&D, I was super guilty of this mistake, and I remember the night I learned it. Focus fire.
It's good. It's good to do.
Yeah, initiative matters.
It does. It does. It's something that you absolutely can do if you want to make things a lot easier for your entire group as you're doing it. Lux says, just remember that you're playing amateur adventurers, not elite Spartans, probably. That's true. But at the same time, any person, I think, can also just go, we should focus on, like, the thing that is hurting us the most, or the thing that does things before I do, you know? With the communication aspect as well, that's still something that you can do. Like, oh, you do, like, cool things. I do cool things. Let's do cool things together, you know? All these seem perfectly reasonable for just an average person. But with the focusing fire thing, I mean, it's better to do, absolutely, but at the same time, of course, I will always say, if you don't want to, that's fine, you know? It's not necessarily a mistake to spread the damage out. The only time when it could be a mistake is when, I don't know, it's clearly like the one thing is the problem and all the rest are chaff, you know?
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, guys, like, if you want this to last forever, we can just focus on the chaff, I guess. Like, all of the chaff around, we can do that. But yeah, otherwise it's
sure,
like,
I can help the enemy stall for time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, yeah, I mean, it's purely tactically, absolutely focus fire every time. Super Mario RPG taught me to focus fire. There you go. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like if you have something that can be more of a weakness to something else and you don't focus fire because of that, it really depends on the situation, as everything does. Utilizing your utility to hinder a certain foe to make it so that everybody else can fire on a certain foe, you know, like it really just depends on what your role is, what your abilities are, where you are position wise. We have a lot that's going on the battlefield every second, right? So everything could change in a moment where everybody's focusing fire at one thing, but then, oh god, all of the chaff is around. Everybody has to take care of the chaff, otherwise we're just taking damage. You know, it's
that's what AoEs are for.
That's right. So as long as you're adaptive to the situations, then you should be fine. You don't have to do one strategy every time, right? Just be adaptive. Just be good, all right? Just do it well.
Just be normal.
Yeah, that's right. Seeing as I have not played a full game yet, I might forget to focus fire. You're fine. Don't worry about
it. It's whatever.
Yeah, it really isn't that big of a deal. The other thing that I would love to, like, that it's fine is if you're not focusing fire, if everybody's going down and stuff, you're just going for an interesting little story. Like, at the end of the day, everything's going to be a story. So, whatever happens, it'll be something that you remember at least, probably. You'll at least have that experience, and then you'll tailor your next experience because of that.
Yeah, like it's also like a thing where Timothy, given that you've not yet played a full game, I can't imagine anyone is going to go, "Oh, you're not a veteran."
True. Yeah. You're fine. Absolutely fine. And even if you are a veteran, like the rest of us here on the panel, and I use the word veteran lightly, obviously, because it doesn't. I mean, we just have more experience, I guess. So, just doing whatever you want to do is fine. Fuck it. Not, somebody might get like a little annoyed every now and then. But at the end of the day, fuck it. It's just a game. Right? Like, nobody's gonna, if they're getting actually legitimately angry because you aren't doing the tactically sound thing every time, you probably have more of a problem with the person has more of a problem in general that needs to be communicated about than it being the game and the tactics that you're using.
No, I must optimize my fun.
I must optimize your fun.
No, brother. Our fun.
Our fun, yes, exactly. Crowd control, I should say fear effects work too. Yes, fear effects are good. True, it's not that big of a deal, that's right. Thank you for your service, great. TableTalk elite veterans. All right, well, we're going into lunacy here.
That's the new Patreon tier.
Ooh, there you go. Table flipper veteran. Ooh, love it. Hate it. Let's go.
Imagine it like this. Let's say that you're fighting a gang of 4 ogres.
Okay.
Each ogre has about 60 hit points. And let's say that on average, your party members can each do 15 points of damage.
Sure.
Well, that means that if all your party members, assuming 4 versus 4, if all you attack the same ogre, it's very likely that that ogre is going to get taken out in one round, which means it now isn't going to be able to do damage over subsequent turns to your party. Ogres hit pretty hard. They do about 15 damage in return.
So I have slight issue with this, just because we are, like, I get that we all know the stats and shit at this point, like, and if you don't, then good for you. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. But either, like, I don't think that we need to base this off of actual stats, more just the fact that we want the things off the board, you know? We don't need to look at it from the metagaming perspective of, it has 60 HP, we do this much damage, you know?
I mean, I'm more okay with it because for some people, i.e. people like me, having it reduced to a math problem does help it make sense.
Well, so making sense of it for sure, but I
Like
don't.
if I see someone go, hey, this D&D is a math problem and can be solved. I like the mathematician in me goes, oh yes, no, this totally makes sense. Yeah, focus fire.
Well, yeah.
However, the issue that I have is you say focus fire, but you neglect what is happening narratively in the moment.
That's kind of more what I'm going for, is like, there's so much more than just the math going on in these scenarios, right? Because if we're going to literally just look at it as a math problem, we can. That's totally fine. I understand that perspective, and I can follow that perspective as well. But we don't need to look at it that way for everybody to understand it. Of, this thing is hitting us a lot. If we all focus and hit it, it will go down faster, right? We don't need math for that. Like, and then it's also, oh, this ogre is like charging us and is like clearly maybe more of the leader of these 4 ogres. If we take it down, potentially that means that the other ones could become more demoralized and then potentially even run off, you know? That's kind of where my brain goes for like more, because just math, I like it a lot, but I need more than just math, you know, in order to play this game, because it is more than just math. Like, there's a lot of math, but if you're not stimulating me creatively, I'm probably gonna get bored, you know? Ogres rule, yes. Ogres are cool. Wouldn't focus fire make more sense on the strongest thing, but all the ogres are the same in this, right? That's, yeah, exactly. With the example, we would need more things to determine what's going on. No, it's not about having fun. It's about defeating the enemy and becoming strong. I mean, that's also valid. That's the thing. All of these things are valid, right? I'm not saying don't do this as a math problem. I'm just saying, for me, personally, I need more than just the math problem, because I can solve math pretty easy. But if I'm rolling a die and like things are happening because random chance has made it so that my math problem now has a completely different thing that has branched off, of like a different sect of math has now been entered into my math problem, then it's like, you know?
I will say, even though the way I play D&D is I try to focus narratively, like, on what is most important, what's most compelling for my character to do.
Yeah.
I like to do that. However, if I'm sitting in a chair and I'm hearing you say, oh, like 4 ogres appear and they take this formation.
Yeah.
The second that a math problem immediately has like things go sideways and my math has now become trigonometry, that makes Aiden very happy.
Yeah.
When I go, oh shit, there are so many variables for me to account for. Ooh, this is a chunky math problem.
Right.
I do get very happy, but like, I would advise against playing according to that math problem.
Right. And I think basically we are saying the same thing. It's just you're saying it in the way of looking at it as a math problem, whereas I'm saying it as looking at it less of a math problem and more of the narrative, right? We're saying exactly the same thing. It's just
D&D is to be played as a narrative.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is a math problems associated with it is a happy bonus for Aiden.
Exactly.
Because he's a nerd.
Hey, math is good. Math is fun.
Oh, especially when one of the variables is the barbarian that doesn't realize the power of not going in. Oh.
Hello, Boo.
Hello.
Boo.
Welcome.
Late in the two options I provided. I chose the second one.
What? Oh, yeah. That's fair, and I figured it would be.
Yeah.
Hello, Boo, and good morning.
Thank you. It's 10 a.m.
Whee! Well, we're talking about tactics, and tactics mistakes.
Okay.
So far it has been lack of communication, which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
And by that it means tactical communication of like trying to figure out what things could synergize and such, right?
Yes.
And then it has been focus fire. That is what we are on right now.
Yeah.
Focus fire is something that is not done as much, or it can be a mistake.
Yes.
So,
Alejo, do you think we will see the help action discussed?
No, I don't think we'll see help come up. I do not think so. I think that I think this is going to be purely placements as well as aggressive actions rather than utility potentially. Well, yeah. I guess utility in the help action sense, because I think we're going to see utility as in like spell usage, right? An ability usage that prevents damage or prevents attacks and such, and heals and all that. But we won't see anything that is a strict, I take my action to not do something and help somebody else make their action better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is very much a use your action to reduce the enemy HP coded.
That's what it feels like so far, and that's what I kind of get as their thing, you know. Whenever we've covered them, so potentially.
Yeah, if the enemy is not breathing, how can they damage you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your team is losing HP.
See, now there's a problem with that already. Undead. Get fucked. Or fish.
Timothy says, "Hi, Boo Senpai."
Hello.
There you go. All right.
So, if you imagine that same party attacked a different ogre, instead, all the ogres survived for 4 rounds of combat, which means all of them are getting to do damage. Whereas if one ogre gets taken out on the first round, another on the second, another on the third, and another on the fourth, there's less damage that comes into the party overall. Mm-hmm. Now, this makes sense for just a simple battle against a group of ogres, but it applies to so many other different things. Against
all things.
Spellcasters, against dragons, against hydras.
It's man realizes that if you focus on one thing, it will get done before the other things.
Yeah,
in every situation. Whoa!
You can also change this into a single 2-word concept: action economy.
Yeah, yeah.
Buck up their action economy. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a common thing in RPGs where. And this is the reason why parties can do what they do.
Yeah.
It's because groups with higher action economies than what they are fighting hit above their weight class.
Yeah.
And that's why you have monsters like gods being like CR20. If you have a group of however many players that are just level 20, they can kill a god because they have more actions than it.
Yes.
It's like it comes down to the whole who would win, 1 5-pound gummy bear or 5,000 gummy bears, and it's like anyone who has ever played D&D goes, "Oh, the 5,000 gummy bears every time."
Death by 1,000 cuts, my guy.
And here's another one: who would win, a single Custodes or 70 boys?
Yeah,
the boys. That Custodes is fucked.
Well,
not in lore. Not in lore. In lore, the Custodes wins, but on tabletop, that guy's fucked.
Oh,
he's not going to make that many saves.
Oh,
It's more
that
likely.
kind of boy. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean orc boys.
Yes, orc
I
boys.
thought you meant human children, and I was like, oh, brother.
Yeah, no.
That would have been
no,
hilarious.
No. Orc
But-
boys will fuck up that single custodian.
Yeah,
In
they have
lore,
enough.
He could probably survive an entire planet of boys.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Most of the time.
It's really always about, removing threats.
Yes. 100%.
In lore, I rank a single custodies versus like, imagine the entirety of North America.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're standing shoulder to shoulder, full of boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus one custodies.
Yep.
Yeah, custodies
that
wins.
seems 50-50 to me.
No, the custodies wins.
The custodians will win every time because they are the golden boys and they cannot die unless they really want them to.
Actually, you know what was super cool? In the new Tyranid Codex, where they go into like the Norn assimilators and shit.
Yeah.
The Hive Mind sent 3 Norn assimilators after a dude. It took Trajan Valoris and a bodyguard detachment of custodies to kill 1.
That's good. I mean, they finally have something that's actually a threat. That's good.
Yeah. And so and even says in the book, after massive casualties, which honest to the custodies, it's probably like 5 dudes, but there's only 10,000.
I was going to say, that is massive.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
That's pretty
so
bad.
that feels good.
Can they even make more custodies?
No.
Since
No.
The Emperor's been
No.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes the Emperor has to make them, basically.
Yep.
He's got to jerk off on a pile of Space Marines, and then they just start glowing gold.
That's right. Exactly.
It's disgusting.
You're fighting a group of enemies, making sure that all of your damage is generally being focused on one single target at a time is going to mean that you're going to have to spend less resources healing yourselves after that battle is over. Now, area of effect damage spells can always be part of your strategy. We're not saying that, you should disintegrate one target instead of fireballing a bunch of targets. Sometimes
on the target.
That's the better move. And if your entire party has AoE abilities and you can carpet bomb the field effectively, that can be a worthwhile strategy. But as a general principle, choose one target and everybody should focus them on.
Okay, that's a good clarification.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, like, is he arguing not to use Fireball because
No.
Fireball does 10 points of damage to 10 people, or Disintegrate does 50 points of damage to 1.
Exactly.
Brother.
Right.
Yeah,
no, he's
I would say it depends on the present targets, but
exactly.
yes.
Which is what he's going for. Sometimes it's better to do that. Sometimes it's better to do the other thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. Plot armor is the ultimate power. Yes.
Yes.
On them together until that target's killed.
Keep in mind that different combat encounters might require different things. Focusing fire isn't the only tactic to take. Sometimes it is valuable for one person to be in charge of cleaning up the minions while the other 3 people focus fire on a single target.
Hey, what did I say?
Sometimes there's something that needs to be performed on the battlefield, switches that need to be pulled, something that needs to be activated, an item that needs to be obtained.
Sometimes you're activating the Termicide generator, and each one of you has to focus on a different lane of approach that the Terminids are coming from.
Yeah. So I just noticed something. Okay. So the past 5 seconds of Snape talking. If you look at, I forget his name, the one in plaid.
It's Monty.
Oh.
Because you've got Kelly. Monty. You've got Kelly and Monty.
Okay, so while Kelly is talking, for the past, 10 seconds or so, Monty's eyes have been look at camera, look away. Look at camera, look away.
Yes.
Look at camera, look away. That was weird.
That you noticed, yeah.
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 Not that I noticed, it's just that's
it's just that it's happening. I guess.
Yeah, just that it happened. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's one of those things of what are you supposed to do in the meantime while the other person has their script that they have to run through, right?
Yes.
So,
Having one person doing the other job while the other people focus
Damn it,
fire.
Boo.
You noticed it too now, didn't you?
You are cursed.
Oh, fuck it.
It's gonna be the rest of the video.
I am physically unable to see anything else.
Intelligence is a curse, my guy.
Oh.
just as important. So this isn't a ignore the other tactical options available to you.
I'm sorry. What have I done?
I've erected the imaginary equivalent of like a piece of cardboard separating like the screen between the two of them. And I'm just watching Kelly speak.
Yeah.
However, in my peripheral,
Yeah.
I see the movement and I can't unsee it.
Yep. I know.
Just imagine that there's like, I don't know. Just imagine there's some sort of D&D monster holding the camera, and he's like making very threatening gestures.
Just gotta look at him occasionally just to make sure.
Yeah. It's like that anime where the girl can see ghosts and shit, but she can't look at them. And she can't tell that she notices them, you know what I mean? Because otherwise the ghost will fucking kill her.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a common little trope for ghosts of like, if you ever let them know that you can see them, they will notice you. It's a very cool trope. I like that one.
To focus fire on.
Trust me, we've noticed, Alejo.
Hey. That's just because this one's... That's the way this one works, okay? Don't worry about that, alright? I won't use it for every ghost you ever fight. Ever.
Enemy. There's a lot of ways that there's nuance to this rule, but generally speaking, what you don't want to do is have all of your party members attacking different people for no reason when you could have taken one off of the board.
So what do you mean for no reason? Well,
if they're just like, oh man, I want to attack this guy. I want to attack that guy. I want to attack. They kind of run off without any strategy.
Yeah, but nobody.
I think that's what he means.
Yeah, but I mean that's not really a thing that you do like usually, unless you're doing it for a character thing, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Like it's less of something that I would see somebody doing like as a gut reaction. Rather than as something that they're like, oh, my character is just kind of like gonna do this because that's kind of how he's feeling right now, and it's like
my character's a bit of a show off.
Yeah, he wants to put as many wounds on as many things as possible to show that he can do it, you know. Which I'd be like, oh, neat, okay.
It also is like, it's kind of unfortunate that we, growing up, have seen so much media where like one person is like, where a fight begins and everyone splits off and handles a different threat.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big Avengers thing. It's a big Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone wants to have their duel and be the cool guy in this fantasy RPG, and that is totally like understandable that you would feel that. It's just D&D is a math problem. And that's not how you solve math problems.
Exactly. Mechanically it doesn't work, unfortunately. Like you can get it to work potentially, but it is something that is less likely to be the solution, is everybody splits off and takes care of their own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said that's not how you solve math problems, and then I remembered that PEMDAS
Yes,
exists.
I was gonna say
Okay, well, yeah.
It is how you solve math problems technically, but
it also depends.
That point lies very inconvenient to the narrative I am trying to push.
It also depends on the kind of fight, because you can have a fight where there's, let's say 3 ogres. Both fights have 3 ogres, but one is designed as a puzzle fight. Yeah. So you might have an ogre where it's like, oh man, he's gonna be up on like this big fucking like machine or ballista or something. Sure. And you kind of need to take him out first, even though the other people are closer.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he may shoot like a VIP or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That is something that I like to do, is like have my players pay the tax of what they need to do and then what they want to do. So what they want to do is kill everything on the field, but you need to focus the one little guy because he's a fucker.
Yep. Yeah, and then it's just like, now go nuts. Absolutely.
Here's you ate your broccoli. or whatever vegetable you don't like. I love broccoli. You ate your vegetables, now have your ice cream.
Now, what's really fun is doing like Darkest Dungeon does with the Wilbur boss fight of you see the tiny little pig and instantly all of us as gamers go, oh, focus the tiny man.
Yeah, easy.
And then once you like kill Wilbur, the big guy gets like a ton of buffs and you're like, oh, fuck.
Immediately fucking murders the fuck out of you. Yeah, every time. Yeah. It's great.
Leads us into our next point, which is
sorry, I forgot I was going to mention this. Boo kind of touched on it, but and so did I with mentioning the Terminids and the Termicide generator. There are some fights where just because of the geography of the map, you will be unable to focus fire.
Yes, true.
In fact, focusing fire is a detriment because you need to keep areas locked down.
Yes.
And those are really fun to design as a game master. Because like you get to watch your players like struggling against the urge to focus fire.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Paired with focusing fire, and this is called target prioritization. What this means is that even though all your allies are all attacking the same thing or have identified the same target, sometimes if you've got multiple different enemies that you're facing, choosing which one is the one that should go down and which your party members need to focus on in general can be a challenge for many groups. Knowing what the biggest threat or the most important thing you need to deal with on each round of combat is something that takes time to assess. Do you go for the scary-looking wizard that is charging up a powerful spell, or the very, very terrifying armored fire giant that is barreling down towards your party?
Suplex the wizard and leave the giant.
That's right.
Everyone can focus the giant. It takes only one person to suplex the wizard.
It certainly does. It most certainly does.
Everyone else can just group up and kick him. It's like fucking that JoJo bit.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Yes, 100% yes. But
by the way, Boo, I also just want to take the opportunity to point out how you have very elegantly kept me from focusing fire in the Devils and Dice campaign with my shadow ability, that my Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Because each clone does damage to more damage to more targets.
You get diminishing returns on combining the clone's attacks all on a single target.
Because I promise to you, if I were allowed to have every clone do a D10 onto the same target,
of course,
it would be like that thing in the second or third Lord of the Rings movie where all of the ghosts attack that fucking and in the third movie when all of the ghosts fucking mob that Oliphant.
Yep. It'd just be that.
That Absolutely. Would be me.
Yep.
100%. Yeah, I get you. What was it? The target prioritization thing in general. This is something that that I think will be more apparent the longer the fight goes on. It's not something that you necessarily have right at the beginning. You could, for sure. Or you could get lucky, right? Just assessing and then going, that guy, that's the guy, and then kill him, and then it's like, oh, well, this fight is incredibly easy. Oh my god. You did it, you got him. But most of the time,
it's so much easier when we don't have Meteor Swarm being cast every single round.
Yeah, exactly. So most of the time, it's probably gonna go a couple, either a round or 2 rounds of that guy is now doing he's the problem, and then you might have designed it so that it's more of a hidden mechanic, as you mentioned, like Wilbur. Where you took out the one guy, now it's phase 2, bitch, so you can play with the expectations that way when designing these kinds of fights. But regardless, I think it's not necessarily going to be a mistake that is made like it might. Okay, it will happen more than once of like not having good target prioritization in the beginning, but as fights go on, your target prioritization will change to what it needs to be, because it will be a cost every time of like, oh, we're getting so much more, like we're swarmed so much more from the chaff because of this guy, he's summoning the chaff, you know, like, and he's buffing them, or maybe the summoning guy is and the buffing guy are two different things.
Or it's like the Tyranids, where like, oh, kill the big guy, and then all the little dudes fucking just die.
Yeah, they could they need the morale boost from the psychic link, and all that. Like, it's just it's something that you will learn throughout, and it will continuously be a quote unquote mistake every single fight until you've gotten all the
catch on to everything.
Yeah, until you get more information. Because at the beginning of the fight, you might have no information whatsoever. You just get in the fight, and it's like, go after the guy in front of me, I guess.
So this is a complete rabbit hole, unrelated to our point.
Sure.
But when I was driving to get groceries earlier, I thought, it's a really good thing the Tyranids don't have much warp presence. Because imagine if a warp god were to bless the Tyranids. Like, can you imagine a Nurgle blessed Hierophant?
So now, what's weird, I was under the impression that this wasn't canon, but there was apparently one point where Nurgle actually got his hands on some Tyranids and managed to get them to be like zombies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't he didn't take them and corrupt them because they don't have souls, but for some reason they were still zombified and kind of doing what he wanted. It was weird.
Well,
I gotta
think
minor.
Tyranids do still have some warp presence.
All they have is the shadow and the warp.
Yeah.
They've got the one guy, Lictors. The Lictors go invisible through a warp effect, don't they?
No, they don't. It's bio-chameleonic carapace.
Yeah, it's a bio. Okay. It's a bio.
Yeah,
biological.
Everything they have is bio.
Yep. But I think I mean it just sounds to me that he gave them somehow he gave them a minor boon.
Yeah, it's like basically it's like he gave them a plague that killed them, and then he was able to puppeteer them. That's basically what he did.
Okay.
So saying that they're Nurgle Tyranids is technically correct, but in the loosest way possible.
Yeah. Okay. I
because
get what
you
you're saying.
can't corrupt something that doesn't have a soul.
Right. Yeah.
What is what's the species of that old one-eye is? Is it a Carnifex?
That's a Carnifex.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, imagine a fucking corn-blessed Carnifex.
Dude, imagine a corn-blessed anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But dude, if he could, he probably would.
Oh,
because he probably loves the Tyranids.
I was gonna say, that's the thing.
Imagine a Scenschlichter.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
That would be so horrible. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah, he must love Tyranids to death, and he must fucking hate that he can't, do anything to him, but, every kill is still sacrifices to him, so he's fine with it.
I don't.
The World Eaters love fighting Tyranids.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I bet they do.
Yeah.
That's why Helldivers is great, because you can fight off 1/10 of a Tyranid invasion.
That's right.
Yeah, right?
Not even 1/100th, really.
Yeah.
You fight the Tyranid cleanup crew.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
The planet's already fallen.
Yeah, you're just sent in there to collect some shit.
Yeah.
And then you hope you get out.
Yeah.
ICBM them as a final fuck you.
Yes, exactly. Swarm monsters are really cool, yes.
You know what I fucking learned that I did not learn until just recently, because I felt like looking at my Tyranid book again. There's an entry toward the very end of the book where they start talking about all the data sheets and stuff, right before they get to the mechanics. There's one last lore entry. and it is this Inquisitor or Biologus guy looking through reports of the new Tyranid attacks on like the western part of the galaxy,
right,
at the start of the Fourth Tyrannic War. And one of the scariest fucking lines in the entire report is toward the end, where it says, and it's like a Vox recording,
right,
and it just says, evidence of bioforms that survived the Exterminatus attempt.
Oh no!
Yeah. And
Oh,
I'm like, what the
no.
fuck?
Oh, I mean, it was an attempt for sure. Then.
Yeah. So like they did it, but they survived somehow.
That's not good.
That's not good.
I mean, they are.
Well,
if they are.
What kind of Exterminatus attempt did they survive? Was it a virus bomb? Because I could see that.
That's true. Yeah, it depends on the type as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is, depending on which Hive fleet, it could be easily done. Like,
yeah.
Jormungandr hiding in a cave, easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just say Exterminatus, so it's just there for implication.
Yeah, for sure. I'm imagining a corn-blessed Carnifex. Like the ears of corn. Yes. Lovely corn.
Or the metal, or the band.
No. This was.
Oh wait, no,
C.
yeah, no,
with
it's
a
not
C.
the cake. Damn.
Yeah. To be fair, Helldivers.
High fructose corn syrup.
That's right. To be fair, Helldivers are nowhere close to Space Marines. No, they're Tempestus Scions.
Oh no, yeah,
They're
yes,
Tempestus.
yes, they are.
Scions.
Yeah. Life finds a way sometimes. That's right.
Both of those things at the same time.
The thing about, especially with the Exterminatus thing, and the quote, life finds a way, life may not generally find a way, but if you keep throwing life at it, eventually the balance of the equation kind of shifts.
That's true.
That's a difficult decision that you're going to have to make based on your party's abilities, based on the rest of the environment, based on everything that's going on. But deciding which one to focus on is an important thing. And I think that it's often this split of target prioritization that results in that split fire. Some of the players in your group think the spellcaster is more important, but some of the players in your group think that the big giant is more important. Choose as a whole, take one of them out, but assess what's the bigger threat from moment to moment. As Kelly said, sometimes it's worthwhile having someone deal with a separate problem while the rest of the group assesses that together.
One guy casts silence.
But this is all part of the art of target prioritization.
I personally find that this is where our group falls apart, and I think it's a lack of communication. And again, sometimes, especially if you're really deep in the role playing and you don't have a lot of out of character chatter at your table, when we're doing our stream, we try to avoid out of character chatter. So I can't often have a conversation once initiative is rolled saying, hey guys, I think we should take the spellcaster out first. That's kind of metagaming. So at our table, we try to avoid that, which means that when I think in my head, oh, we should definitely be taking the spellcaster out first, and I'm going last in initiative, and the other two people I'm playing with go after different targets, and then I say, well, I know that spellcaster is going to be the biggest problem, so I'm going after it. But now we're not focusing fire, and we both have different ideas on what the target priority is.
This is why it's important to communicate, and it is okay to have a short tactical discussion or to say.
Or alternatively, get a whiteboard and set up a tier list of what kind of problem deserves to be taken care of first, and have it on standby.
Always pull out the whiteboard every combat, wheel it into the room. It's got S tier, wizard.
I'm just seeing the meme of that bearded guy like drawing on the whiteboard explaining.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Charlie from Always Funny.
Oh no, the other one. It's not him. It's something else. If you ever watch one of those slander videos, you've definitely seen it though.
Okay. So I'm surprised that no mention of like in character chatter during combat was even mentioned.
Yeah, that's weird. Your characters can be smart. If your characters have ever seen a wizard, they can probably be like, yeah, wizards cast dangerous spells. We should probably take him first.
Yeah. Like, Kelly's character, even though he's behind in initiative, can, on his turn, run forward and go to, running towards the wizard, see his friends running off, and go, guys, no, the wizard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm very confused. And this isn't, like, you would think that even though they're a very combat-focused channel, that they would at least put in that bit of roleplay thing to support their combat tactics. You know, like, because it's the most minor roleplay thing available. On your turn, you can talk.
Yeah.
Like, and so on your turn, you can still discuss your tactics in battle. Now, potentially, it might be one of those things of like, oh, the enemy can hear you yelling to each other, because yes, they can. So that's something that then you can go, oh, but if you're trying to talk in battle, ooh, they might learn your tactics, you know, like, because that's honestly something that you should do more of. If your characters are yelling to each other in battle, then you should absolutely go, well, if the creature they're fighting is intelligent and can hear them and can understand them,
they're gonna swap
that.
their tactics to counter their swapping of the tactics.
Exactly.
We're playing around the plan, they planned around our plan.
Exactly.
So we see this, and I've recently been re-watching through Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Okay.
Just because it's been a minute since I've revisited it.
Yeah.
But when Goku and Piccolo are fighting Raditz in episode 1 of DBZA, Goku is going like, go around him, and Piccolo goes, we probably shouldn't be calling out our tactics, and then they both get kicked back, and then Goku immediately goes, rush him, and then Piccolo goes, damn it, Goku.
Yes.
So yeah, don't do that if you are facing something that may be intelligent.
Yeah.
However, when I was a long time ago, I think a few years ago, I wrote just a 20-page document on like, hey, here's some of the basics of how to tackle dungeons. I called it was called Dumbgeneering.
Yes.
A beginner's guide to dungeons. And in it, I mentioned that it may be not a bad idea for your party to have a few code words. Just like if someone says melon pickle, they know that everyone in the party knows that means scatter and then fire in AoEs.
Right, yeah.
If they hear, I don't know, Tempestus Scion, they know that means regroup at the town.
Right, yeah.
Or something.
Right.
But it's might not be a bad idea just to have 2 or 3 code words that mean things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great idea. It would be both scary and cool if someone's made a humanoid race that feeds, breeds, and attacks in a swarm like hive minds, like bugs. Yeah. Be cool.
So,
dude,
crowds?
they're called not mind flayers. 40k Tyranids. Tyranid human hybrids for
gene stealers. Gene stealers.
Gene stealers.
No,
gene stealer cults.
Black Friday shoppers.
That's right.
There you go. But gene stealer cults.
Gene stealer cults. Yes. Yep.
People individually act as individuals. They're smart. They can be reasoned with. People in a crowd are dumb, panicky animals.
That's right.
Yes.
This is what I meant by you're not playing elite Spartans. Yeah. I see what you're saying now. Hey, Rogue, sneak up and stab this guy I'm fighting. That's right. Yelling that out is good. Absolutely.
Something between your characters in combat. I will say that as a DM, in the middle of combat, if the player characters are barking commands at one another, I assume that those are happening to some degree in the narrative, so the enemies can hear the players making this conversation. Which is a big benefit to having telepathy. If you've got access to that. So I'm okay with players having tactical conversations in the midst of battle. I don't consider it metagaming. I just consider it happening in universe. And so if your player shouts out, kill the mage, then the mage is going to know that you're coming for them.
And that is fair. I think that, like, it depends on the type of discussion that's happening at the table. I do think that when we are talking about target priority, some of the keys are, is there a spellcaster, especially if they're concentrating on a spell?
Yeah.
And if there isn't one of those, then is there an enemy who is performing a task? Again, maybe if there is an ulterior motive to the combat encounter, maybe there's a MacGuffin that you need to get, maybe there's switches that need to be pulled. What's the enemy that's preventing you from accomplishing your goal? And then lastly, what's the enemy that's doing the most damage? That's kind of my list of priorities. Concentration on a spell, stopping you from achieving your goal, or doing the most damage.
Yeah, and then counterpoint, you can also identify low priority targets as well. For example, if
Guys, we don't need to worry about these enemies. They're not focusing fire.
Yeah.
They're playing suboptimally. Gives a side eye to the DM. Disgusting.
It's very good.
Leave them be. They can live in ignorance.
Just
good.
makes direct eye contact with the DM while saying they're no threat.
Ooh. Reminds me of that Z Bashu video where the guy jumps across the cliff, and as soon as he dies, he's like, "Oh, it's just my next character. It's Jelly Bones. It's a Tabaxi bard. He's quite the Casanova. He loves the ladies just as much as he does fresh mother's milk."
That's right. Yes.
It's like fucking. And then it just ends with, "Your master was too weak to protect you."
Exactly. Yeah. But I am glad that they did mention it at the end there of talking in game. That's good.
Yes.
That's good. In character. Good.
Do you have a wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock in your party that has powerful battlefield control effects? Then you might lower the prioritization of enemies that have weak saving throws because you know, hey, the warlock's going to enrapture them with hypnotic pattern, or the cleric is going to banish that demon, so we're not going to make that a priority because we know that we have the battlefield control.
Okay. Again, this is information that you would find out as you fight, because I'm assuming you're not utilizing your metagaming knowledge of reading the stat block. You know? So as long as it's like, as things are happening, you know, and even if the DM is slipping out that information of, oh, they're not very good at that, you know, like, sometimes that happens, right? We've all done it. That kind of stuff, it's like utilizing that for sure. And then looking at the enemy and going, well, that thing looks like it's not very good at blank, you know, like that's fine, right? But this would come into the idea of the, like Dracokraken said before, of researching your enemies beforehand, and like learning things like that in narrative kind of way of like, the fucking ogres. We'll just keep using ogres. Ogres, they're big, they're strong, they're very healthy. They travel across the plains days at a time without stopping. That's a good way for constitution. And then but you know, they're not usually known to be strategic. You know, they're not exactly great at doing more than rushing at you to clobber the problem. You know, so then you have potentially more of the intelligence, wisdom, saving throws that you can then focus on, as well as potentially charisma.
Or saying like, legends exist of their single-minded determination.
Yes.
They'll walk across entire plains without stopping, walking weeks at a time.
Exactly.
Just to get some food for Greasus.
That's yes.
But they're known for like not having a lot of finesse. They use very big, very cumbersome weapons.
Yes,
because that's all that can be processed by their tiny little pea brains.
And yes, exactly.
In that moment, what you have communicated to the player is they have godly strength and constitution modifiers. But good God, they suck at keeping their balance if they have to do dex saves or int saves.
Exactly. not known for diplomacy, they ravaged the land without a word to their victims, you know, like stuff like that, right? Like things to give the player in-game reasons to know these things if they're willing to take the time. Reward your players for taking the time.
If they want to take a round to, instead of attacking, to look back and do like a nature check.
Yeah, or a history check or anything, yeah.
That's something that, that is information that I would give to any of my players.
Yeah, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
To put that enemy to the side while we focus on another foe. So it is a back and forth. There is an art to it. There's a lot of nuance. But assessing what are the enemies that you're going to be focusing on damaging, what are the enemies that you're going to try to control on the battlefield, and what are the enemies that you gotta take out. That's the magic. And that's why the communication is needed.
One mistake that can happen that has been a thorn in my side as the primary spellcaster in one of our groups is spoiling AoE positioning. I can't tell you the number of times that I have to silently let out a sad little sigh as I look at my spells, see a group of enemies huddled together, ponder how I'm going to destroy them all as soon as my turn comes up, only to have my other two teammates run in, mess up the positioning of everybody, or draw enemies towards them, or blast them out of range, or just move the battlefield in a way that now I have to completely reassess what I was going to do on my turn. I think that it's a problem with all spellcasters that what you think you're going to do on your turn and what you end up doing on your turn are wildly different just based on how everybody takes their turn. But as a team,
skill issue,
if you know your wizard or sorcerer's turn is coming up, and there's a group of enemies all huddled together, and you're the fighter and the paladin and the monk, instead of
Kelly, I invite you to have the bravery to fireball your party. Fuck them. They walked into a crowd of people. They knew what they were getting into.
It's true. They honestly depending
though,
on your role, you might do less damage to them than they would take from the fucking enemies.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, oh no, I did 12 points of damage total to our party. Oh no, because I hit a person who resists fire and a person who's immune to fire.
Right.
But, you know, I dealt 36 points of damage to the enemy, so, like,
Actually, that's a great risk assessment for your spells in AoE spells is a good thing to kind of do as well. Risk assessment in general of you hurting your teammates.
Kelly, I invite you to have the bravery to kill a teammate.
Yes.
I invite you to play EDF.
Now, here's the thing. You need to make sure you don't make this decision based purely on die rolls, because the moment you're like, I never hit hard with my fireball, that'll be fine. That's when you're going to kill all of them.
Yeah.
Truly unfortunate.
Yes.
But
what a shame.
I wasn't in the fireball because my positioning was right.
No.
But I agree, at least to an extent of like, yeah, everything, like, this is, like I said before, be adaptable. That's just kind of what you need to be in every combat situation. You're not gonna have that perfectly coordinated attack, and the enemies aren't going to just stand there most of the time in the same spot, unless you are literally first. You know, then it's like, oh yeah, you have free reign. You can do whatever the fuck you want, whenever, wherever they are. You get to go before everyone. You know, otherwise you just have to account that you're not necessarily gonna have the most optimal AoEs every time. And if you really want it to be optimal, hey, just count your teammates as a little bit more, just so that you get those numbers up there, bud.
Yeah, and think about how much extra damage you'll do.
If you want number go up, you have a bunch of easy targets.
You know, my graph is damage done. It's not damage done to friends.
It's not. My graph is damage done. It's not damage done to enemies.
Yes, exactly. I just, it doesn't matter. Wizard, shoot your magic that kills people in one hit. He's totally too stupid to know what you're doing. Yep, exactly. Sometimes the plan doesn't survive first contact with your allies. True.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you at the same time. Love it. What he doesn't realize is if he ever did go first and hit all the enemies at once with a fireball, they'd all aggro and focus fire on his squishy mage.
That's very true.
That's honestly fine. That allows you to set up a very basic formation on the battlefield of enemies are trying to rush to you, but our frontliners are forming a wall for me.
Exactly.
And because what happens then is you have set up yourself to be in the position where you can keep throwing fireballs because you have enemies that are all moving in one direction and crowded around an area. So just like keep throwing fireballs, but just shift them a couple feet back so you don't also hit your allies.
Yeah, exactly.
You may not get the 2 or 3 enemies that are like close to your allies because you're trying to avoid hitting your allies.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I can get more enemies in an area, then like fuck it, sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I have first-hand experience with that or anything. So
grabbing those enemies or drawing them away or running into the middle of it, if you can instead spend your turns knocking them closer together or grouping enemies together, which there's a lot of abilities to do that, try to help the AoE setup rather than diminish from it.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be the simplest thing. I can't tell you how many times as a player where I've gone like, just move 1 square back. If you were just 1 square back, I could do X, Y, and Z, but you moved one little bit too forward. And I actually had an instance where a friend of mine they ran their
not the character. Will it kill the player?
They got surrounded and set themselves up to be surrounded, and they took a ton of damage. And I was like, I can bail you out, but the only thing I've got is going to be like a fireball. And they said, well, just do it anyways.
Oh.
And this is a very valid thing about the AoE positioning is maybe the Tiefling Paladin doesn't care about getting fireballed.
I think this also has to do with communication is if you are the spellcaster, check in with your meat shields and ask them if they are okay being fireballed. Not all the time.
That is our word. Jesus.
Now, Kelly, excuse you. If you are the caster, talk to your expendable hit point pools.
There we go. Yes. Come on.
There you go.
Yeah.
But if I'm a raging barbarian and we're at pretty decent levels, there's a good chance I have over 100 hit points. And I take half damage on most things anyway. So if I'm running into battle as the barbarian and there are 20 little minions surrounding me, please fireball them.
Or the character that has immunity to charm or fear doesn't care if you put a hypnotic pattern down on the middle of them, right? So sometimes character abilities can come into play here and enable you to do tricky things. And of course, if you're an evocation wizard or you're a sorcerer that has the ability to sculpt their spells and in some way, then maybe you're fine. Like these abilities are great for that reason. But being considerate of that positioning is really, really key. And I think that so often I have actually killed a party member with my AoE because they ran in, were surrounded. I said, I can AoE these guys. I can get everybody. And they were like, do it. And then they died.
I did.
Seems like an acceptable loss. They were like, do it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I've called in an airstrike on myself. Like,
Exactly.
I know where the enemy is because I am touching them.
Yes.
Exactly. Like, it's just a part of it. Yeah.
So now, one thing I wanted to touch on while they were talking about the barbarian and the 100 HP and all that.
Yeah.
I realize that this is a tactics video, and that's completely fine. But from a roleplay perspective, if I was playing a barbarian and I've got no fucking armor, I don't really feel like getting fireballed, because in real world terms, I would be covered head to fucking toe in horrible burns.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually have something about this.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I played a character who was a warlock in a 5e campaign. Where each day I would roll a d6, and what I got on the d6 would like change what I had for a patron that day.
Oh my god.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Because my patron was an archdevil who would essentially like loan me out as a contractor to like solve some of her debts to various deities.
Nice.
And there were some days I woke up and I was a seeker warlock, and I was like, oh boy, I've got a lot of stuff for getting around terrain and not a lot for combat.
Love it.
And that character was legitimately like, I played him as a psychopath. Like, he really struggled to understand the concept of like remorse for his actions, because he'd be like, no, what I did was optimal.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
Sociopathy.
A Reddit mod.
I would absolutely cast fireball on a group of enemies that our tiefling with a genie like ancestor would be in, because they were immune to fire, and I was like, well, they're immune to my fireballs. I'm going to absolutely fireball the enemies, and their player got like their character got mad at my character.
Right, yeah.
Because they're like, it still hurts.
Yeah.
And my character was like, fucking grow up. It doesn't kill you.
It doesn't kill you, and the goblins could have killed you, so get fucked.
There you go. Yeah.
You should be thankful to me.
Yeah, no, I agree though that looking at it from a role play perspective is something that we should be doing as well, because it's like optimization is fun. Don't get me wrong. I like being optimal, right? But I got the angel and the devil on my shoulder. Do the optimized play. Do the optimized play. Do the optimized. And the other one's like, but your friends. Don't hurt your friends. It's like, but that's just how it is.
That was that character's arc of how they developed as a person into like not being as team kill happy.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, but it really just depends on the situation, right? And I think that if that is the way that it goes, have like Aiden has with his character, getting the arc of like, maybe I shouldn't fireball my friends. Character conflicts can happen, right? Like inter-party conflict, right? Where you have this relationship that has happened now because I fireball you all the time, and you go, man, I hate you. But man, you get things done.
The other thing I wanted to ask, when they were talking about sorcerers who can sculpt their spells, was it? Not warlocks? It was sorcerers?
Yes, sorcerers, yep.
Can you play as a warlock and sculpt a fireball to like and shoot it like up in the air and make it look like a giant dick in the sky?
I mean, you could probably do that as a sorcerer. I would allow it as a DM if you wanted to,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
But it's not, I mean,
it's not optimal, but
it's not optimal, and also the way that
look
warlocks
to the east, look to the signal,
look for the signal.
It's like, oh my god, it's coming.
In 5e, I don't know if any warlock invocations let you sculpt spells, except for Eldritch Blast. Like,
yes, okay, so
right?
then it must have been sorcerers. With
Yeah.
magic.
Sculpt a
metamagic.
fireball to look like a dick, then cast a lightning bolt through the middle of it.
Yes!
Yo!
There you go! Now we're thinking about sky dicks. Hell yeah.
It's not actually a sky dick, it's just a fireball that looks like a dick.
Yeah, but it's in the sky. You said it was in the sky. It's a sky dick.
I said it was in the sky, but I never said that it was a real dick.
I never said it was a real dick either. I said it was a sky dick.
But you certainly didn't distinguish it by calling it a fake dick.
He spoke with metaphor.
Oh. Anyway.
God! This is the worst.
I'm actually going to watch Dragon Ball from the start soon, half because I never did that before and want to, and half to honor Toriyama.
Dragon Ball's a good. It's a fun one.
Dragon Ball is fun, yeah.
Yes.
Kirk to Enterprise. Prepare to fire photon torpedoes on my position. Yeah, exactly. I know a lot about the show, but never saw it from start to finish. It's about time I fixed that. There you go. I would allow the Sky Dick too.
Or are you going all the way through Z?
Oh yeah. Are you going past Z even?
You can.
You can.
There are some things in Super worth watching.
You certainly could.
Yeah.
I was the DM at a table that had a barbarian in it, and he always ran into battle. But I remember the day that the spellcasters in the group were like, what do I do? He's always running into battle. And finally there was a day that he looked at the rest of the party. He's like, you guys can always fireball me. Just as a blanket statement, you can always drop your AoE with me in there. And then everybody did, and they won most battles because he couldn't go down barely ever. He almost did a few times. And they just created a whirlwind of devastation with
that said, the cleric is often not too happy about the extra healing spells they have to expend on
take a fucking short rest.
What are you talking about? The cleric doesn't like healing people. Then why are you fucking playing a cleric?
Expending all the more spell slots. Like
okay. Fair enough.
Well, just take a short rest. Fucking use your hit die. You'll be fine.
Yeah, sometimes I forget the D&D have limited spells.
Yes, yeah.
It's been a long time.
That's fair.
Regardless, so be conscious of that. And I think that this leads us well into the next mistake, though, which is being overly conservative with your resources in general.
I fully
played
agree
with many players who they might often use that AoE positioning as an excuse not to use their spell, and then they just default to a cantrip. Unless the cantrip is the winning move, you should be. Cantrips are for mop up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're a spellcaster and you're going down to your cantrips, it means that you probably could be doing a little bit more. Sometimes again, it is the play, but I see a lot of players that they save all their spells for the final encounter, and then they didn't use them because they ended the day with most of their high-level spell slots still available. Your spells are there to be used, and being overly conservative with them means that someone else in your party has to spend those resources instead of you, whether that's in the form of their spell slots and their limited use abilities, or in the form of hit points from the extra damage that they took because the enemies weren't dealt with in a timely fashion.
This is a slippery slope, though, as well, right?
Yeah, because maybe it is the barbarian spending the resource of HP.
Yeah, which is... Yeah, that's
maybe that's kind of fine.
Yeah, exactly. The barbarian getting hit is, halved every time because of the fucking rage, so it's good, because the rest of us are still fine. Plus, if I'm utilizing more of my spells, I mean, potentially, I could be doing more, but then when we get to the final encounter, maybe I don't have the spells that I need. It's just one of those things of you really, it's hard to assess that mid dungeon, mid, I don't know, whatever the jaunt is that you're going through, of utilizing this spell now could mean that I don't have it in the future for something that actually could use it better. you know, or was more designed to have that in mind. Which is, again, another slippery slope of like, oh, should I save them all, right? Like, it's hard to account for everything, right? Because you can't.
Yeah.
So using your spells enough, using your resources enough to do it to a degree that it seems like everything's going well and you've got enough spells and spell slots and resources. I mean, that's how you're feeling about it. If the other party members are like, dude, maybe you should have used more later, like before, you can go, okay, maybe I'll use more next time, and then assess after that. Like, but it will change every time. You're either gonna use too much or too little or just enough. Like, there's no way to really hammer that out and have, this is how many spells I need to use every single fight, unless you have such formulaic fights that you can do that. Right? Which then there's that problem. Yeah. So the variables, as we've been talking about it, the math problem that's going on will have so many variables that are going to be introduced or taken away at every moment, really. So it's just going to be how you feel on it, like in that combat, and that's all you got to go off of. And really, at the end of the day, if it went very well, it went very well. If it went very poorly, it went very poorly. Yeah, you just gotta kind of deal with it, unfortunately. Which is why I never care if like somebody hasn't used all their spell slots or not. You know, like that's never entered my mind for somebody else or me to like go, you could have done more.
Yeah, because
right?
you can kind of assume that they're saving it for something.
Right.
Or they just don't feel comfortable using it.
Right. And
because like, sometimes you feel kind of naked when you know you don't have any ammo in your big gun.
Exactly. So like I can see it as like, yeah, you could have prevented a lot of expenditures, let's say, from utilizing more of your resources. But also I can see it as you're saving these resources for if, I don't know, after we get out of the fight, there's something else, you know?
Just being prepared for any eventuality.
Yeah, so I can't, in good conscience, even think like, oh, you didn't do enough. You know? Like, that's never going to enter my mind for that, unless it's to me, specifically.
Not to mention, if you are having this conversation with a player after a fight, they've ostensibly survived that fight. Yeah. Whether they ran away or they defeated it or avoided it or whatever, they clearly did enough to survive, which is kind of what you're going for.
Yeah, exactly.
Survival by any means, as long as it's not like a plot-relevant thing where it's like, oh, you must kill this man.
Right.
Or woman.
So, that's right.
Who knows?
Equality in killing. Exactly. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing that can become something of a slippery slope in both directions. So there's no real way to do it in a correct way every time.
Yeah.
I'll never use my mega elixir. That's right.
Yep. Never gonna do it. I might need it for the final boss, and then you never need it during the final boss.
Yeah.
I think one of the only games where I do that now is God. It's weird to say it because I haven't played one in so long, but a Pokemon game. Where it's like, oh man, I got all these full restores and shit. I'm not going to need them after the final boss. Well, no, I'm definitely going to use them in the Elite Four left and up to the champion and all that.
Yeah. No, these days I just use everything. I'm like in any game. If I'm like, oh fuck, I can use this. Fuck it, I'll do it. Dragon Ball 3 to Super, all of it. There you go.
Okay.
Not GT.
Yeah, no, you don't need to watch GT.
There you go. Barbarian.
But you should also definitely watch the Broly movie. The new Broly movie is very good.
There you go. Barbarian gets himself fireballed because he likes how healing spells feel. Ooh, interesting. A spell addict.
Like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, like a magic addict barbarian. That's super
Yeah.
interesting, actually.
I like that.
That would be a good usage for the wild magic barbarian.
Yeah.
The wild magic barbarian weren't fucking crack.
If it wasn't the worst, absolutely.
Thinking about the barbarian that likes how healing spells feel kind of reminds me of that Boo, do you remember that thing I sent you of the barbarian and the lich?
Yes.
Barbarian
from Dungeon Soup, yes.
Maybe I just eat your phylactery and see how it feels to have you wriggling around in my stomach.
Yeah, dude. That barbarian's fucking great. Oh, you're a virgin, you're gonna regenerate. I'll just need to shove a pike up your ass and then every day cut off your limbs. It's great.
That's amazing.
Or the I love him killing Strahd.
Yes.
Just because when he shines the light on the vampire's like and he burns up in these in a crispy little ball. And then the barbarian takes out some holy water and then the vampire's like, oh, is that water for me? Ah, I'm so thirsty. Give it to me. Oh, it's holy water.
Great. And he starts cooking breakfast on him. It's awesome.
What is that, guys? Is it D20 Adventures or something?
No, it's Dungeon Soup.
Dungeon Soup.
There you go.
He did another one with a genie.
Yeah, the genie one's pretty good.
I loved the ending with the fucking rotoscoped wrestling.
Yeah.
That was good.
Let's see. Also, I tend to say Dragon Ball for the whole franchise. Sorry if it's weird. No, you're good.
No, that's what
that
I
makes
do
sense
as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just you don't never know if you're talking about just Dragon Ball or the whole thing. Sometimes
But yeah, I'll tell you that Dragon Ball and Z are pretty damn good almost all the way through.
Yeah.
But there are definite parts of Super where it will drag.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they had a fair few missed opportunities in Super, so there's that.
If you mean Dragon Ball Super Broly, I already saw it and love it.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
There you go.
I think that it's really important that it's known that if you're not outputting enough in the combat encounter, then the other people are going to have to output more. And spell slots are there to be used, abilities are there to be used, and I think it's important to know who your priority targets are, focusing fire, all of the things that we've mentioned already. But I feel way cooler when I am blowing my spell slots to do epic things. There was an encounter that my spellcaster had recently where I counterspelled at 5th level. I shut down the rival spellcaster that I was fighting, and I just annihilated them. I blew through a lot of spell slots to do so, but I felt really, really cool in that encounter, even though looking back, it was like, wow, you used a lot of spell slots. You used 3 spell slots on counter spells. And it was like, yeah, but that other spellcaster didn't get to do a thing, and I won the combat because of that.
I think as a general rule of thumb,
you
usually
spent spell slots, some spell slots are spent via fireball to remove people from initiative.
Right.
Some spell slots are spent on counterspell to remove enemies from initiative.
Exactly. Good job. You did it.
Yeah.
You have done your job.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's literally that's the point of the spell that you took. You did it. Yes.
Otherwise, why did you take it?
Yes, exactly.
Suss out, once you've spent some time with your DM, about how many combat encounters you usually face. So for myself as a DM, I usually plan around 3 to 4 combat encounters in a typical game session or arc. Hey, I'm a 10th level character. I've got 2 5th level spell slots and 3 4th level spell slots. That means that I'm going to spread them out, and I'm going to use a 5th level slot once per encounter and never more than that. And then I'll use a 4th level slot if I
I'm a
have to. And
10th
then
level
my 3rd
paladin.
and 2nd level
spell
slots
slots are smite slots.
Yeah, exactly. All I do is smite. That's it.
Magic is cringe.
Sometimes
Too bad they removed Smite from the game.
And
now it's just the shooting phase. I hate that.
It still goes before Or no, that's right.
No,
Yeah,
it's
is
just all the. It's just you
it's
shoot.
all.
You cast gun.
Yes, you cast gun. That's right.
Mm.
But sometimes as a paladin, I smite with my spell, and then I smite with my ability, and then I
smite with your spell, and then you smite with your hand,
and then I have a crit. So I of course use my ability of smite.
Dude, if I play a paladin and we're playing in a more in 5e or whatever, I definitely want to have a paladin that fights with gauntlets.
Oh, yeah.
And that way all my smites are literal fucking backhands.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a bitch slap, it's a bitch smite.
Yes.
The holy pimp slap.
I love it. Love it for sure.
Play as a paladin of a love goddess or whose sphere includes sex. So I'm literally a pimp paladin.
There you go.
Actually.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one though.
I want to take the Tavern Brawler feat because the Tavern Brawler feat allows you to use improvised weapons as effective as normal weapons. They just have they don't deal a lot of damage.
No, they do a D4 or D6.
But
smite with a chair.
Your improved divine smite stacks with the Tavern Brawler feat.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can pick up a flagon of ale and whip that across someone's jaw, and improved divine smite, you have your strength and your charisma modifiers added onto your damage if you're an Oathbreaker paladin. And improved divine smite and a regular smite on top of it. You can fuck someone up.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yep. It's great.
Be fucking great, man. Also you could be a paladin of a carousing or party god. And so you walk around, you're always drunk, you're like a drunk master.
Yeah.
And you're just smiting people with your fucking beer. That'd be great. And then you're on a quest to find the greatest beer. I thought that was a nuke. To find the land's greatest beer.
You encounter some town guards and your party's kind of a bit how to put this, a bit consternatious, a bit frustrated at dealing with guards. And then just be you're the paladin, you're lucky I've been drinking because being sober loosens my tongue.
Yeah. I tend to be okay with dragging shows if I like the characters and world. Good.
Okay.
There you go. You'll be fine.
Good. Yeah.
Babylonian paladin. Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, dude.
There to be used. It's one of those things where I see players get very top heavy sometimes. I see certain types of players will use all their high level slots, and then they'll have those first and second level slots not used. And a second level or third level spell can have a big impact even at higher levels of play. So just assess it out and weigh how much you got to use, and use it at a measured pace rather than holding everything back.
Our next point is actually the exact contradiction of that point, but I think they can go hand in hand. And this is being overly wasteful with your resources. So although you want to use your resources and don't be cagey about, I shouldn't use any spell slots, let's just revert to cantrips, or I don't want to use my smites because I only have a few of them per day. But you pair that with the idea that you can also use these in terrible ways. If you're near the end of combat and there's three...
this is literally what we said. There's a slippery slope on both sides. That's it. Nice.
3 goblins left on the battlefield.
I hope you're happy.
And you all get to go before they do.
Never.
You don't need to drop a fireball. You can probably just use a cantrip now and let you and your friends clean up the mess.
We've all experienced the paladin going to town with Oath of Enmity and smiting on every single attack, dropping all their abilities, and then having nothing left in the gas tank after that. That's a very epic turn, and to be fair, there is no kill like overkill. But
let's save it for the Demon Lord.
Yeah. You don't need to use it on the goblin. Save that for the Demon Lord. Spread it out. I think Paladin players.
Why is there
really
a goblin in the
susceptible to
Demon
this.
Lord battle?
I feel like
So I actually have a quick caveat to add to this point.
Okay. Yeah.
I had in a 5e campaign I was playing where I was playing a paladin. I had a character who was like basically summarize everything wrong with my character's hometown, including the almost competitive levels of racism that he had to deal with as a kid.
I see.
It was all because of this one guy. His name was Pippin, and Pippin was a bastard. He hated elves.
Okay.
Ever since he joined Gondor.
And
that steward really got
there was when combat broke out and my paladin saw this character, just his eyes just like went like he was a shark smelling blood in the water.
Sure.
Everything else was ignored the entire battlefield because I was like, fuck Pippin.
Yeah.
And
that song was shit. Sorry, I'm done.
And Pippin, as a human, had like 12 hit points. I dealt minimum 18, but I had hasted myself. I blew the highest smite slots that I possibly could. And he evaporated like before my first blow landed on him, just with like the massed up radiant energy that was in my fist.
Exactly.
I did not stop. My first attack killed him. Like it dealt like 4 times his max health. My second and third attacks were on the wall directly behind him.
100%.
So, like, there is also something to be said narratively about what this character means to you, and if you will be unoptimal because you will. I need this dead.
Yeah, exactly.
The
narrative, absolutely.
Yeah, so like, there are times when doing things like this is called for narratively. And I understand that Dungeon Dudes is more of a combat-focused channel, and as such, they're probably not going to touch on the fact. Yeah, okay, yeah.
No. Narrative. What? You did a bunch of damage to a wall, you idiot. You could have been doing that to the undead that were around or whatever.
Yeah, to the other human guards.
Yeah, exactly.
One of whom had already surrendered.
Demon Lord had a goblin waifu. That's right.
Oh, based.
But you murdered her first? Okay.
Maybe she was buffing him.
Wilbur, dude.
Oh, Wilbur. Yes, sorry. Yes, you're right, Wilbur. I have an idea for Cornell to brew a pink beer that is 3 parts alcohol, healing potion, and steroids. Oh
my god.
There you go. Alternate answer, the Demon Lord was the Overlord, and the Goblin was Gnarl.
Fair, yes.
There you go.
Those are such good games.
I've yet to...
It's like smite, I got a smite on every single attack.
Having played a paladin up to 17th level, smiting's my favorite thing to do. It feels good to smite, but
it does.
It's actually probably the lesson for a paladin is pulling yourself back and being like, you don't have to smite on the goblin. Again, save it for the demon lord, save it for the undead, save it for the necromancer.
That's why I save my 1 highest level spell slot for that and smite everything else with everything else.
Alternatively, it is very cathartic to spend a 5th level smite on like a level 1 bandit.
Oh yeah.
He just it's like going to a barbecue in the south. The meat just falls off the bone.
Exactly.
I'm just getting distinct Yugi or Yami Yugi versus Weevil. where he fucking beat him and then he just kept hitting him because the game was still going.
Yeah.
With Berserker Spirit.
That's right. Yeah.
Drop your smites when you're fighting the enemy that you're going to deal the most damage to. I like saving my smites for those places where I get that extra D8, or again, if I have my target priority. This spellcaster is concentrating on a spell that is wrecking the battlefield. Perfect time to drop a smite on them. You're going to force them to make a really tough concentration check. These are the times when it's good to smite. So know when to use your resources. Don't be cagey.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
I respect that the council has made a decision, but based on the fact that it's a stupid decision, I refuse.
I mean, it's not even like
I know. I
know.
I'm sorry to just say no to your point, but that's just like objectively wrong.
Yeah.
If you have a caster who has like cast, say, Cloud Kill or something that they're holding concentration on, you are doing smite, which means that your sword hit has already landed. They won't have to roll a higher DC concentration.
No, they
do. Dead.
They do.
Like, do they?
Yeah, it's based off of damage you do. It's not based off of if you hit.
Oh, I redact my point.
Yeah, you're in the wrong, idiot.
Okay.
God. You just were going on about
so then Kelly. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
I retract my no and give you a yes.
Yes. You have earned the highest badge of honor I can give. The Principal Skinner. Yes.
Did you see the fucking steamed hams when it's JoJo?
The JoJo? Yeah,
I haven't good. Actually. Oh,
it's very good.
I should see that.
Yep.
About using them, but don't use them in dumb ways that are going to be wasteful. Again, we love overkill, but overkill on the Demon Lord because you used your highest level smite, and then
you're not going to get much of an overkill on the Demon Lord,
and vows and all of that,
unless you're saving it for the very end. And why would you do that?
Love it.
You want to put him down as fast as possible.
Our next point: doesn't matter if you overuse them or underuse them, if you just forget entirely that they exist. And this comes into our next point of forgetting to use your crucial abilities. And this.
Hey, Boo, do you have turrets that you can put down?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm getting better about it in Helldivers, though.
That's good.
If you'll just throw the turrets out, brother, I'll build them for you.
I always need to be reminded that I fucking have turrets. The problem is the fact that the engineer in Deep Rock is so killy that sometimes I feel like I don't need it.
That's fair. I get it.
This is particularly true for your more reactive abilities like reactions, rerolls, the lucky feats.
Or if you are...
Well, I don't allow the lucky feat myself, but sure.
Shadow Sorcerer who has an ability that says that when you are reduced to 0 hit points, you actually get to like roll a die and get back up with 1 hit point.
Relentless Endurance for half orcs. I think also Shadow Sorcerers have that feature, but I think you might have Death Ward as the spell that also does that. And there's also the Warlock Invocation with the book that Joe has on Wrath.
Yeah, there's so many little abilities that you can have. It might be an ability on your armor that negates crits. It might be an ability that you have that is a reactive ability to when somebody gets hit or somebody takes damage or a spell is cast.
Or remembering that you have resistance to fire damage.
Or remembering that you're immune to poison.
Yeah.
These are things... Listen. Mm-hmm. I know that it is difficult to keep track of everything on a character sheet. And again, we are two people who have made all of these mistakes. And even after we explain these mistakes to you, you're going to continue to watch me make these mistakes because knowing is half the battle. But that's not all the battle. The other half of the battle is me actually reading my character sheet. But sometimes you're caught up in the moment. Yeah. You're looking at the cool thing you're going to do, and you kind of forget about the other things that you could do.
I've gone through entire game sessions, my great shame, I've gone through entire game sessions with my Divination Wizard forgetting to use Portent.
Yeah, it
right.
happens.
And worse than that, which we'll get into it a little bit more with the next one. I've forgotten to roll the dice at the beginning of the day too.
Oh.
So there's so many of these things, or even characters. I've seen players that forgot that they had shield, forgot they had counterspell, forgot they had absorb elements. I've seen players forget that they had feather fall when they needed it.
I just really hope that we get to, like, I don't know, better ways for us to remember these things that they might suggest, because yes, we are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have, really.
I forget as a rogue that I can take half damage on an attack once per round. I forget that all the time.
And I think it's very specifically like these niggly little abilities that are reactions or changes or resistances or things that modify dice rolls or saving throws in certain ways. Another one, I see players forget that they're in a paladin aura. I see players, and just a fundamental one, I see players forget that they have advantage or that they have disadvantage. Sometimes.
The other one that I think is really tough is you as a DM will often give us a boon, but a boon isn't, like, I write it in the notes on my character sheet.
Yeah.
And then I forget about the boon. Like, it will last for the next 4 or 5 games. And 2 games later, I forgot all about the boon.
And this is also, I think, brings us into our kind of another thing that players forget is forgetting to buff up.
Oh, that was it. I mean, I guess we'll get there potentially at this point, but okay. Give me something. Give me something more than just saying that we will forget things, because yes.
Before battle and assess like what your pre-game moves are. The classic example of this is the wizard forgetting to cast mage armor before battle.
I appreciate that Monty is a forgiving DM, and there are so many times that battle starts and we'll be like, could I have cast Bless before this? Or could I have summoned my familiar back? And usually you're like, yeah, that's fine, because realistically we should have thought of that.
Inspiring Leader is another one that gets forgotten really commonly. And it also comes down to, just as you said, you can cast Bless before combat. You can also cast your summon spells before combat, because these usually last for an hour. So if you use those spells like Aid and Hero's Feast, if you want to use protection from poison or Fire Shield, these are all things that you want to do before battle even happens. And often in the excitement of the moment, I think a lot of players forget these kind of bookkeeping sort of moves, but they make a difference.
Even potions that have a pretty long span are often better than casting a spell. A potion of fly or a potion of invisibility, drink that before you go into the environment that you're going to be using it in.
And I think that potions are another one of the big ones of just forgetting to use your consumable items.
Okay.
Maybe I would also add forgetting to stock up on potions.
We could have shortened all this to just forgetting.
Yeah, forgetting and now, like, buy items and remember your items.
Yeah, just forgetting in general.
And remember your teammates' items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like...
To this, but I remember recently when Joe opened up his bag of holding and was like, I have these potions. I have this wand of cure wounds. I have a scroll of dimension door and a scroll of chain lightning. And all of these things that would have been like, wow, that would have been useful.
These two go hand in hand as well. It's forgetting to buff up, which is your spells, your abilities, your features, anything that you want to do before battle begins.
Yeah.
But then there's all of those items, and that's the other point, is there's all of these items that you have at your disposal. And I mean, you even brought up the other day, you gave us a scroll of Meteor Swarm, and then we went to war sieging a castle. I forgot that I had that scroll. But
that would have been useful at taking out the castle walls, wouldn't it?
Well,
I don't... It happens, that's fine. It's a thing, yeah. Unfortunate that you forgot it at that point. You didn't have it. Now you have it for something else.
Yeah, that's true.
I just, like, it's not like it's gone forever. would have made the thing more easy. Would have made it more optimal, I guess. I just the easiest way that I can say that you can, I don't know, not forget things is as a DM you could be nice and prompt. If you as the DM remember that they have things, right? Like sometimes you won't because you won't. Other players, if they have better notes / better memories than you, can prompt you. Like there's not much that I can do with this other than say, yeah, okay,
yeah, do that.
do
or
the
do
thing.
Not.
Do the thing.
You hit them with the yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. That's just kind of it, right? Don't worry about that. We won't be human beings for much longer. Well, I pray for the day. Leroy keeps track of everything. He would never forget inventory. If you're having a problem with forgetting things, my recommendation is to not forget things. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
like,
man, I don't really know why. This kind of feels like they're not taking notes on what they have.
Well, so they do. That's the thing. They take the notes. They just don't look at them over until later.
Weird.
Right? Which
because like when I'm in I don't know if this is me. I don't know if I'm weird for this, but like every time we've played like Delta Green,
yeah.
Whenever you have put me in like basically any situation, I'm looking at my items and being like, okay, can I use this to do anything?
Oh, sure.
Like, what can I utilize to do this?
Exactly. Like, if it's something that is like, and because of the way we play, I don't care how long the turns take, right? Like, you will, as long as you're not taking like 5 minutes. You know, like
sitting there doing nothing for 5 minutes.
Exactly. I know that you're thinking about things. I know you're doing things in your brain to try to get through the situation, and I want you to succeed as much as possible, right? So if you're gonna take some time looking over your items and what you have, your abilities, whatever system we're in, and if you even have questions of like, could I use this in such a way? Then it's like, oh yeah, we'll talk about it, sure, and we'll figure it out. Because again, I want you to be able to do what you want to do to the best of your ability and to succeed through these challenges that I've put ahead of you. That I hope that you can succeed through, despite my throwing you into them. Right
now. So then, if that's the case, then I would like to succeed at sidling along a 20th floor ledge.
That's fair. Unfortunately, time travel hasn't been invented. That's accessible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. I like that's accessible.
Yep.
So, the thing, though, to remember is that people like you and me who obsess over what we have in our inventory sheet, we are the freaks.
Yeah.
B, something that I like to do as a DM is to say, all right, so-and-so, you're like, it's your turn. And then you look at the player who will go like after that, and you say, so-and-so, you're on deck, look through your inventory, look through your abilities, figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's a great way to prompt it. Absolutely. And like, hell, maybe we can stop being the freaks and make it more of a common practice. Hey, nice. when you're doing your turns, or when you're waiting for your turn, look through your sheets. Look through
because
them.
I imagine that if you have something in a bag of holding, I imagine that. Oh, well, I certainly fucking hope that is written down somewhere on your sheet, and it's like a separate fucking card that's in your back pocket.
I guess.
Like, I need to check my bag of holding.
I mean, however you take notes in general of your inventory, check your inventory. You know, because like. Having a notebook at the side where, like Aiden does, where he will write down everything in a notebook instead of on the sheet usually, depending, right? Depending, but you know,
I just don't like the formats of the pre-generated character sheets.
Absolutely, which is absolutely fair.
Their math makes my brain hurt.
That's fair.
I like seeing number directly next to it, modifier directly next to it, the breakdown of how the modifier was calculated.
There you go. He's an Excel boy. It's fine.
Yes. I am.
I respect that.
When I play D&D, I'm actually playing an Excel spreadsheet.
And that's absolutely fair. So, but like, just have that as a thing that you'll do occasionally on your turns, before your turns, after your turns, during the game. Check your notes, take good notes, check your sheets, you know, like, because you have the options here, you have the ability, so that you're not forgetting all these things, to remind yourself that you have things that you can forget. So in order to forget about them later, check them over occasionally. Please do so. Please, God, I'm asking you so nicely, please.
God can't help you here, stalkers.
I know. Let's see. Leroy's log of alabaster is part of keeping that inventory. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Well,
It's almost like your DM put it there for a reason.
I blame Joe for that one. He was the spellcaster in that regard.
Yeah.
So these are all elements of the players forgetting what they have at their disposal to use. But when combat does start, another thing that I think a lot of players forget about is the environment.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I will say that if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3 does an excellent job of showing you how important the environment can be. But just because you bypassed a trap doesn't mean that you can't use that trap to your benefit.
Yes.
Just because you don't want to cut the ropes on the bridge because you need to cross it doesn't mean that once you're across it, you can't cut the ropes on the bridge to make a bunch of enemies fall. Look at the environment, see what's there before
Doesn't mean you can't dig up that pressure plate, and then when you're running and leading enemies back through an area that you now know is booby trapped, you can lead them into the traps.
I definitely would. I don't think I would cut the bridge, depending on the situation, because there goes your way back.
Yeah, you are now married to that plot of land.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a thing that we've all seen in many games, in
Movies
D&D as well, but like in movies exactly as well, like
in the Amba Jones.
The Imbiamba Jones, that's right. Utilizing your environment is incredibly helpful. I'll point to the thing that everybody knows, Skyrim. You ever see Skyrim that one time where there's those fucking huge walls of spikes that have the pressure pads, and you literally just lead every fucking anything over them and they just get hit and die? Yeah, there you go. Like, they have their things of oil.
To keep things popular and recent, Helldivers has the meteor swarms.
Yes. Yep.
If you see a rock is landing in an area, it can be real good to start running so that bugs are running through it.
That's right. That's right. So,
or a nuke that's just lying around.
Yeah. Enjoy these contemporary examples, people.
Very topical.
Yes. Skyrim, unfortunately, will always be topical every year.
Yep. What a shame about... Remember Starfield?
No.
God. Nobody else does.
No.
Why do you remember it?
2029 is a year that's, like, getting pretty close to us.
Yeah.
Skyrim gets old enough to vote then.
I know. Yep. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Maybe by then we'll have 6.
It'll be 2039 rather.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, okay.
Still close enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Ooh, ha.
I nearly got very nervous.
Maybe by then we'll have 6. Maybe.
I doubt it.
Well,
It's gonna be bad when they make it, though. I know that.
6 as in the Elder Scrolls
6.
I thought you meant re-releases. I was like, brother, I think we're already at 13.
Yeah.
Skyrim has been released
more
I know. Years than it has been out.
Oh, yes, I know. It's fucked up. It's so
God.
stupid. Did they ever fix?
It just works.
It does. Did they ever fix the Switch version so that it doesn't auto-crash because of that one bug that they never fixed?
I doubt it.
Fucking no.
Okay.
They don't fix, but dude, they
What
don't
do you
fix bugs.
think?
All I remember about that was when it came out on the Switch that it had the bug that modders had fixed out of the PC version when it first came out, because that was the bug that everybody knew about that would auto crash your game at a certain point, and it was still there for Switch.
Sounds about right.
It's amazing. Speaking of spreadsheets, I put up a 3.5 character spreadsheet on the Discord that I was pretty proud of my modifications to. Spreadsheets are convenient. Use them. Yes, I did see that, Lux. Thank you.
Hey, by the way, did you guys know that the Bethesda bug discovery team is actually pretty good at their jobs?
I bet they are.
They kind of in terms of where they are to the rest of the industry, they rock, and Bethesda knows about these issues when they are published.
Yep.
But even though they have this team that is the start team of all heavy hitters who can find and discover oh, this bug is in here when you do this in this way and you turn 720 degrees in this corner. But they just don't listen to them.
Right. Yeah. No, it's
yeah. It's really pathetic.
It's fine. It's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. The Matrix will be Skyrim. Yes, the Matrix will be Skyrim. It's the only way, really. It's the thing that will outlast us all. Skyrim.
Yeah. When you're on your deathbed, surrounded by family, and loved ones, and you say your final goodbyes, and then the black crawls in, and then all of a sudden you will be on a cart and hear, "Hey, you're awake."
Yep.
It still makes me laugh every time that gets edited into anything that has a fade out. Yeah.
It's now getting to the point where Skyrim's old enough that some of the memes are actually getting me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that one.
Yeah. It's
love that
great.
one too. It's great.
Any hazard that was a problem for you is a hazard for your enemies as well.
Yes.
Yeah, whether that's explosive barrels, areas of water, or my favorite, and another absolute great thing that Baldur's Gate 3 does really well is elevation. If you're higher up than your enemies and you have ranged attacks and they don't, you have a huge advantage over them. If there is a cliff that you can push somebody off of, Cazador.
I will say that out of all the things on this list, this is actually the one that I'm pretty proud of our group for.
Yeah.
I have seen at my table, Jill once, she played a barbarian, and she constantly was throwing people off of ledges, kicking people out of windows.
Hell yeah.
She
Demonstration.
Wait, whoa. Go back. Did he say kicking people off windows?
No, throwing people out of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Defenestration in its fullest extent.
Yes.
In the environment, Joe feeds bad guys into traps all the time with
telekinesis. It's so good, and it makes your encounters more memorable. It is a great story. Using the environment makes D&D more fun and so do the thing that's both fun and effective. Interact with the environment. Be on the lookout. Even if you are just playing the bog standard human fighter, Joe is a masterclass in how you can be the bog standard sword and board human fighter and still have an absolute riot interacting with the world and using the world as a weapon against your foes. And
pocket
that's
sand.
not something that you should neglect.
If you find corrosive goo on the ground, you collect it in a vial and you throw it at a guard, and nothing bad can happen from that. Using the environment to your benefit, it's great and it's fun. And I think that, as a counterpoint to that, DMs throw a lot of environmental stuff in there. It's so much fun. And I think some of the most, like you said, the most memorable moments in a combat encounter.
The reason why I've not paused this at all is because we literally talked about this in the beginning, the environment.
Yeah, we talked about doing this exact thing. I love when what we talk about at the beginning of a video comes up later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. It's good.
are not when the fighter attacked again, or not when the rogue used sneak attack, or not when the spellcaster cast fireball. Those are all epic and cool. But they're not as cool as that time that the warlock picked somebody up and fed them into a sphere of annihilation.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
That sounds fucked up.
So to sum up,
That's
all
cool.
mistakes that
Jesus.
you want to watch out for when you are playing and fighting in combat in D&D.
Well, they deserved it.
Remember to work as a team.
Focus fire, but also target priority.
And at the same time, be sure that you're not spoiling anyone's AoE positioning.
Oh, I can't wait to see 3 different things of forgetting.
Don't be overly
Unless they
conservative
actually
with your
condense it into
resources,
one.
But also, don't waste your resources.
Don't forget your abilities, feats, and class features, especially ones
No
that
way.
are reactions or things that
You did.
modify a die roll.
did.
And at the same time, don't forget to buff up before battle. Whether
They
that's casting
needed
mage
10.
armor, rolling your portent dice, casting bless, summoning monsters or
Because
familiar.
their thing is making the list,
thing-
right?
Even
So,
even in the list that they talk about with being overly conservative with resources and being
Yeah.
overly wasteful of the resources, 5 and 6 can be condensed into proper resource management.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yep. That we
Um,
they have 6 points.
Yeah. but
They have
what
6 points.
But 10 is a more appealing number
Oh
for
yeah,
YouTube.
it's the top
Mhm.
10 list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I know it's a minor thing, but the fact that 3 is below 2 and they're like, oh, focus fire, but also target priority.
Yeah.
Like, target priority comes before focus fire.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah. So I unless it is literally like, no, target priority is something that happens more frequently. Focus fire is something that doesn't happen as frequently. You know, like unless that's the structure, because they were talking about the most infrequent thing first. But I don't think that was the structure. I don't actually think that there was a tier list here. It was just
you should be prioritizing targets more often than you focus fire.
you should be, yeah.
Because situations where you need to prioritize targets, not only in combat but also like socially, like
Yeah.
recognizing who's in charge here.
Yeah, for sure.
I am at a house fire. Where is a fireman?
familiars. Make sure you do those before battle happens.
Also, don't forget all of the potions and consumables you have at your disposal. They might be jingling around in your bag. Just don't forget you have them and know when to use
9
them.
is a
And
halfway
lastly,
point
don't forget
between
about the
5 and
environment.
6
There's
and
a lot
7
of
and
cool
8.
ways that you
Hell, even when they were talking about it for 8, they were saying that goes with an into 7. Like,
Yeah.
so they even in the video condensed
They
it to
know
1
what they
point.
did.
Oh, they know what they did. I understand that they are not idiots. They know what they've done. They
Like-
absolutely have done this intentionally.
Lux mentions retreat not mentioned.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's true. We were talking about that. Yeah. They didn't say that, and you were asking about help before. They didn't say anything about that because that's
Yeah.
utilizing your thing in a way that isn't damaging. You know, like,
Although it can be.
oh, it absolutely.
It
So
can
that's
be.
the thing. Absolutely, it
which
can
is-
be. But
There's actually a really interesting Zbashu video on that.
yeah,
Where he has Trevor, the super powerful dude who's
Yeah.
trying to get revenge on Skank McGank,
right.
and he's got
Oh,
Ghost
yeah.
Pig.
Yes.
And
yes.
so
yes. Oh,
he
yes. I
rolled-
remember.
Yeah, he rolls great weapon fighting and he fucks up.
Yeah.
Or no, he hits, but or something like that. And then he has Ghost Pig get help him.
Yes.
And so he gets to reroll and then he gets a crit.
Yes. Exactly.
And because of that, Ghost Pig effectively helps him do like 100 damage, which is completely impossible for either of them to do alone.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so it absolutely can be, and it absolutely is one of the like best tactical decisions you can make in certain circumstances. But that isn't going along with doing damage directly. Right? You're doing it indirectly, so it's not going to be on the list. Because it's not a mistake, apparently, either. That people don't use the help action enough. So, that reminds me that I used to probably spend a solid hour at a time as a child in the factory stage in Mega Man X just watching robots fall off the conveyor belt into the lava. Look,
yeah,
I was
dude.
kind of a fucked up child.
Hey, you want
It's fine.
a fucked up childhood memory that I just remembered I
Sure.
did this week? So when I was young, I had a Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
And I had the Green Army Men game or
Advance
Green
Wars.
Sure.
No.
Or at least I think so.
There was a stage where you get access to a Green Army Man tank.
Yeah.
And you can run over the enemy combatants on foot.
Yeah.
And when you run over them, they play this little like scream.
The Yoda scream.
I wish.
And there was one night my father was watching me play, and he went, "Wow, you really like the tank." And I just said, "I just like hearing them scream when I run them over." And my father went, "Oh."
Yeah,
it's like, very good.
Don't really realize what you said, but
yep. That's very good.
Well, I mean, the thing that I got in trouble for one time was, Super Mario.
Yes.
And I forget the first snow level in Super Mario 64. It's the one where you have the penguin race.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I would always take the penguins, like the baby penguins, and drop them off the edge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, everyone did that.
Everybody did that. And I'm like, it's just a game, right? I'm just kind of messing around.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. They should have gone for 7 points. Yes, 7 would have been a better number. Yes. The
thing is, they could have still gone for 7 if they included other things like help and retreat.
Well, they could have gone for 10.
Or you can even make 7 kind of a flashy number because you'd be like the 7 sins.
Yeah. The lucky number 7. Yeah.
The 7 deadly sins of tactical shit in D&D.
Lack of communication, lack of focusing fire, lack of target priority.
Yeah, it would have worked. Absolutely. But 10 is a bigger number and it attracts more viewers.
Yeah.
Forgetting and more forgetting. Yep. They didn't pass the Kobayashi Maru. That's right.
Looks like they forgot about the help action.
There you go. I told my dad that I liked Mario better than Superman because Mario kills his enemies. Hey, there you go. I'm glad I don't have to worry about doing cruel stuff in front of my dad in games. He does way worse. There you go.
You can interact with the environment and use your abilities in combination with the environmental hazards to defeat your foes.
If you take these 10 principles, your Dungeon Master is going to need to seriously up the challenge rating of the combat encounters that you're facing, because you're going to rock their world.
But also, if you're anything like us, you're going to know all of these now, and you're going to say, wow, I should really think about those. And you'll think about 1 or 2 of them at a time in combat, and probably forget the rest.
So I get the fact that they're trying to appeal to new players with a whole DM versus player mentality. But I assure you, if you are playing a game where the DM has at all thought about their world and the story that they're telling, the DM is like pouring a tall glass of whiskey and holding their head in their hands and then going, why don't they just fucking focus fire? Why don't they? You're not breaking any new ground.
No. Yeah. I don't like.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the wheel has been invented.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sure you're gonna rock their world if they haven't ever thought about this at all ever. Yeah,
they can't adapt to players playing with more than one brain cell,
or they can't just get that fucking roll to unsuplex themselves. That's the worst.
That's the worst.
Yeah, no, things got really fucked up when someone took the help action to help Boris keep the lich pinned.
It's like you fucking like the help action is the other character like tickling the lich's foot. Like, I can't use all my strength now.
You can join a grapple anytime. It just makes it so there's more grapple. That's all.
It's just a literal dog pile.
That's right.
Cartoon dog pile.
That's right.
God damn it.
My dad in a D&D game. You dominate person to force my character to walk off a cliff. I laughed. There you go.
Rest until the next combat encounter. But as long as you have a loose idea, you're going to do better as a team. And remember that teamwork is the fundamental thing that's going to make all of this work.
Make the
so
dream
talk
work.
to the other players that you're about to set out on your adventures with, and make sure that you know what all of your capabilities are, what spells or abilities you're bringing to the table, and what your go-to strategies might be to really save the day and steer the battle in the right direction for you.
Now, of course, you might be able to make all of these mistakes in combat because your dungeon master is actually just making as many mistakes as you behind the screen. We're going to be talking about those mistakes in a future video.
If you have any other classic mistakes that you've made as a player for tactical combat, let us know about them in the comments below. Or just let us know which of these mistakes is your folly. My answer is most of them.
The videos that we create on our channel are made possible thanks to the incredible generosity of our Patreon supporters who are really good about pointing out all the mistakes that we make in our campaigns on our patron-only Discord server. If you want to join our community, follow the links right down in the description below.
And if you want to see us making these mistakes constantly, please check out our actual play in the Worlds of Drakenheim, which is Tuesday evenings on Twitch. You can find all the previous episodes right up over here.
And we've got plenty more videos about other types of mistakes that D&D players make, with the rules and much more.
Alright, so
please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and ring that bell so that you never miss an episode.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time in the dungeon.
Nice. Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. It's pretty basic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, once you have kind of a basic understanding of the rule set in D&D and how the combat works, you'll kind of pick up on the whole target priority and focus firing thing. You know, you'll just eventually kind of start to see that, you know, over time you'll learn that the more attacks you have, if you have more attacks than your enemies, you'll put them down faster just through sheer weight of numbers.
Over time, you start to see the action economy and how big it is.
Exactly.
Yes.
The other thing that I would love to talk about a little bit is, so I'm all for talking with your group and figuring out all these kinds of things. But I also like the idea narratively, if your group is not necessarily knowing each other or coming together at a certain point without having, you know, met before and all that kind of stuff, or haven't met for a long time and, you know, they've got new things that they can do and all this shit. Like, they don't necessarily know how each other works in a combat situation just yet, and it might take you a few times before you can really like get those kinds of things and like give them the ability to have those kinds of like synergies, you know, just to make it more of a narrative experience of, we've been like fighting together for a while, maybe we should think about like code words, or when you do this, I'll do this, or every time we fight this, it seems like if we take this out, you know, it goes way the fuck better. So we should do that, you know, like have it be a combination of a tactical discussion and a roleplay discussion after you're more comfortable with each other in character, you know? That way you can have your cake and eat it too, in this sense. You're building both of these pillars, if you will, stronger. So I don't know. It's just like I'm all for the meta conversations, but at the same time, you know, just give them a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more flavor. Yeah. Draco Kraken's last statement reminds me that I wanted to tell Boo, thanks for making me aware of Fierin.
Oh, yes, you're welcome.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah,
Frieren. Or Frieren. It's pronounced Frieren, but it looks like Frieren.
Right. One day I'll have some time. One day I'll
No,
have
you
some
won't.
time. That's right. I barely have
lie.
time for anything these days. Yep. I still haven't even gotten back to JoJo yet. Anyway.
Yeah. You still got two series of that to go.
I have so much.
Actually, no, 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah. I think you still haven't. You never finished part 3, yeah?
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm close, I think.
Yeah, so you've got 3. No, wait, no, you've got 4. You've got 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, right. 6 is the thing that's only on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's annoying.
You can find it online.
Oh, I know.
Did. That's how I watched it.
Oh, of course. Don't get me wrong.
That's also how I've watched Record of Ragnarok.
That's fair.
By the way, speaking of, Aiden, did you check out Nikola Tesla versus Beelzebub?
I have not.
Okay. It's really good.
I'm sure. I just kind of totally forgot about it.
That's fine. And I did too until just now.
That's fair. The dudes have left the building. That's true. That's the dudes. That's the dungeon dudes. And as I suspected, 30 minutes turned into 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, you know what? It's not often I say that a video can be shortened down to an ad-friendly 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fluff. There's a lot of points that could have been combined. I would say at most I would give them 20 minutes. At most. I don't think they need 30.
Yeah.
10 would be too little, I feel.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like a minute per topic, yeah.
Yeah, 15 to 20 seems like a good range for what they've basically achieved.
Yeah, no, I was just being a shitter.
I get you. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. We did it. I figured it would go long, and since it has, we're good. Oh my god, we did it. So, I'm gonna move on to comments, and then we'll move on to stuff, and then we'll be done. So at this moment in time, of course, I will extend the invitation for either of my lovely co-hosts to skedaddle. If you should. Around. All right.
I have been craving making some food, so I believe I shall do so.
Alrighty.
Would any of you gentlemen be interested in perhaps some pre-nerf sickle?
What?
So, I don't know if you, Alejo, did you ever use the breaker in Helldivers?
I used the breaker, yes.
Okay, so you know how they nerfed it because it was so good?
Yes.
The new best gun in the game is called the Sickle.
Okay.
And it's an automatic laser rifle that if you use it properly...
It's just the Liberator, but better, and with, if you are conservative with it, infinite ammo.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotcha.
So me and Aiden have the meme of, man, I really miss pre-nerf sickle, even though we're using it now.
So fucking good.
Because we know it is going to get nerfed.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Unfortunately, I will not be joining for that because I'm going to set the episodes to be rendered for the evening so that I can get them all set for the before they need to be out. I have a lot of admin to do, especially for those Devils and Dice episodes. So
yeah. So actually, before you leave, Aiden, I have a question. That way, the whole table can hear it.
Oh.
Next episode, do we want to do the 40K model thing, or do we want to? What do we want to do?
Oh yeah, that's a good question, Aiden. Yeah, do you if we did it the next time, this would be not just like us doing all the models at once.
It'd be like a faction. And talking about a faction.
I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, given that the message that I saw in Discord this afternoon was the first I had heard of such.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that sounds neat. Now I won't have a ton to contribute because this will be my first time seeing a lot of these models.
Don't worry, I'm gonna have detailed information that you can look at as well.
Cool.
you will supply me with a spreadsheet. Then, am I hearing that correct?
I could do that.
But
I literally do
uselessness on the tableness.
I literally do spreadsheets for my job, so I will not do that.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is your other job.
I know.
You just don't get any money from it.
I know. But
so, audience.
What I will do.
What Alejo has told me is that I could have the chance to enjoy the next episode, but because of Alejo's cowardice,
no. I will be able to give you links to the site that already gives you all of the information that you need for every single thing. It's Wahapedia is fantastic. It's
Oh yeah, no. That's what I figured.
Exactly.
Say, hey, this is the model of what it looks like in game, and this is how it performs in game. And I would say, I don't understand how to read this because I don't play Warhammer.
Don't worry, we'll teach. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And we also need to get you into fucking playing Warhammer.
That's right.
It's weird that you don't, because knights exist and Tau exist.
If knights existed on like a virtual tabletop,
they do.
Oh.
They do.
Oh, okay. Well,
they 100% do.
Yeah. I'm sure we will come back and visit this point next episode.
Of course.
I'm going to go make my food.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye, all. Goodbye, chat. It was wonderful seeing you all. I'm definitely not stalling for time so that I can find my Discord tab. There it is.
Yeah. The other thing that I found very funny about that just then was the fact that we were talking so much about, oh man, they could have condensed so much shit in the video.
Yeah.
And Aiden is like, I'm gonna go make some food because I feel like I have an urge to cook some food instead of just saying I'm hungry. I'm like, dude, I didn't want to say anything.
But
like
you know, we're all long-winded here. Come now.
Oh, I know, but I just found it very ironic.
I gotcha. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Lore time. Yay. That's right. Lore time. Since you didn't get to tips, here's a tip. Use wall spells. So we provided the tips. We did, and they kind of didn't really give tips. They just said what the things are, really. But we gave you tips. It's fine.
Use a wall spell?
Yeah, wall spells like firewall. Or sorry, wall of fire, because a firewall is different. And like a wall of stone, I think, as well, and wall of force.
Yes, I knew Wall of Force. I thought when they said wall spells, what I was thinking of, the first thing that popped into my head was fucking cassette beasts. And then I'm like, no, that's not it. And then I'm like, is it something in Baldur's Gate that I never got to?
Gotcha.
I need to play that game one day, maybe.
Yeah, one day I should too. There's so many. I don't have time for anything.
I'll be right back. I just need to use the restroom real quick.
Alrighty. Played Nights on Tabletop Sim. That's right, you did, Draco Kraken. We even recorded it. It's fine. Aiden doesn't watch our stuff. It's fine. Anyway, we shall begin reading now. Okay. As soon as I've had my drink. Okay. So first up, I just wanted to see and say, haha, silly thing. Rank choice good. Now to strategically throw Vampire and Cyberpunk under the bus. This was from Lux on the post that I made on here about all the things, and it was a funny little joke. I liked it because that didn't happen. That didn't happen. In fact, I'm gonna go check it right now because I can. Oh yeah, no, that's still a. Oh, Cyberpunk is now winning out. Oh, I am less prepared for that. Okay. Fair enough. Interesting. Well, we shall see once it comes time. Once we are at the end of the of Devils and Dice, we shall see if that retains its throne. Hey. Anyway, next up, we have Timothy on last week's episode. The essential experiences in utilizing rain. Oh, I did throw them under the bus. It just didn't work. Ah, I see. So Timothy says, hello, bros. Hello. Got some new lore. The Log of Alabaster, Entry 7. After a 3-day trip, we were finally a few hours away from Moorworth. Targasus and I were deep in conversation the whole time. It felt good to get to know him. Besides just rumors, the closer we got to the city, the more travelers headed the same way. This didn't seem to be random. Targasus, something must have happened for these people to be going to Moorworth at the same time. Leroy, yes, but what? A few hours later, with the city walls coming in view, the crowds were massive. Star Ruby, damn, that's a lot of people, boss. Leroy, indeed, it is. Let's hope for something good. I looked over and saw Galvin asleep with his head on Massimo's lap, and Massimo sitting up with an empty bottle of fire venom in one hand. Leroy, hey Massimo, Galvin, wake up. We're almost there. They didn't wake up. Targasus, I have an idea. He then shot the tabaxi and vampire with water from his hand. It did nothing. Targasus, you gotta be kidding me. Leroy, I got it. Hey Massimo, all the fire venom fell off the cart. Massimo quickly jumped to his feet, knocking Galvin to the floor of the cart. Galvin, hey, what the hell, man? Also, why am I wet? Massimo, the fire venom didn't fall, did it? Oh, the fire venom didn't fall, did it? Leroy, no, it's fine. Targasus, you two sleep like rocks. Massimo, well, I am undead, so... Galvin, thank you. It's a gift. Leroy, I hope our spot at the inn isn't filled up because of all this. Star Ruby. Oh, right, I forgot about that. Galvin, well, I stay at the stables with my pony. All you guys can bunk with me if you want. Targasus, nonsense. Everyone can stay at my house until all this dies down. Galvin, you have a house? Targasus, and that's weird, why? Galvin, I thought you IMO guys slept in your office. The look on my great-great-grandfather's face was a mix of annoyed and confused. Massimo was trying to hide his giggling. Galvin trying to change the subject. So, I wonder what all these people are doing. Getting into the city, we saw signs telling about a tournament being held. In 1 week. Targasus, now everything is starting to make sense. Is most likely being held at the Imperial Colosseum. They haven't used that place in years. It's about time. Star Ruby, hey boss, can I join the tournament? Leroy, if they have a spot left, then yes. I bet Cyrus already joined knowing him. Let's head to the South Branch in the meantime. Star Ruby, got it, boss. When we got to the IMO office, we were welcomed by Talathorn at the front door. Talathorn, Targasus, about time you showed up. Targasus, good to see you too, old friend. The two hugged for a moment. Talathorn looked genuinely happy. I never saw him like that before. Talathorn, job well done, Leroy and company. Leroy, thank you. If I may ask, how did you know we were coming in today? Talathorn, my kobolds told me you were on your way. Leroy, why did I even ask? Talathorn, let's head in and talk. I have a few things to tell you. Looking at Targasus and, Galvin, what, no fun for us? Targasus took a bag of coins out of his pocket and gave it to Star Ruby. Targasus, go to the Dracolich dungeon and have drinks. My treat. Leroy, you heard the third chair. We'll meet up with you later. Star Ruby, whatever you say, boss. Well, that's all I got. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Nice.
And then Lux on essential experiences and utilizing rain as well. I went to sleep without posting a comment. Close call there. Overall, it would be inconvenient for me if the world ended right now. So, taking care of that right now. As previously discussed, the rise and fall of Prime Minister Guido Renza marked the end of the Dragatoan, or Grido, I'm sorry, I called him Grido before, end of the Dragatoan Golden Empire era, and the beginning of the Long Strife. Aside from the deaths of the imperial family, along with the most influential officers of the imperial government, the destruction of Shadowguard itself had a profound impact on the course of history from that time on. With the ruins of Argondis now lost, scientific advancement was greatly diminished, and the hope of recovering all that the children of Shadownis once knew was gone forever. Along with those ruins, a great wealth of cultural artifacts of Dragatoan origin was destroyed as well, including numerous historical texts and the original manuscripts behind many of our most important philosophical traditions. Of no less importance, as a matter of policy, Shadowguard had always remained the primary center of commerce and the manufacturing for the entire empire. This had been one more means by which the imperial estate maintained supremacy over its vassals, providing a great wealth of income to maintain the Praetorian Starfleet, and directly making the noble estates financially dependent on trade with the imperial house. For this reason, earlier succession struggles, even when they had turned violent, had always ended swiftly once a claimant to the throne had secured their control over Shadowguard. Had the political crisis following the Rensa's downfall been resolved swiftly, whoever prevailed might have chosen Shadowguard as their own capital and restored it to some semblance of its former glory. Unfortunately, the world had long been depleted of natural resources, thus the destruction of its commercial infrastructure left it with essentially, no strategic value. As a result, whatever remained of the planet went largely ignored by the warring states over the thousands of years of the Long Strife. Ultimately, the Dragatoans forgot where Shadowguard was even located, and the fact of its very existence slipped into obscurity for some time. The economic disruption caused by the loss of Shadowguard took an immediate toll on the galactic population. Noble families put effort into expanding the industrial capacity of their own fiefdoms in the aftermath, but their priority was placed on military production. New trade policies between houses were designed to place rival nobles at a disadvantage wherever possible, even at the cost of efficiency in meeting the needs of common subjects, often going so far as to deny critical supplies to entire planets until political demands were met. Furthermore, much of the knowledge that had allowed manufacturing systems on Shadowguard to operate at such a high capacity died along with the planet's population, and the new factories commissioned by the nobles were far less productive. In the first century, after the destruction of Shadowguard, the imperial population is thought to have declined by as much as 60%, and by 90% by the end of the first millennium.
Jeez.
Because no single planet could control the whole empire now, individual noble families could do little more than attempt to defend their own holdings. Despite this, the most powerful nobles still had ambitions on the imperial title, and all the nobles either desired or felt compelled to seize whatever power they could. In this political environment, established power structures broke down, and order steadily gave way to chaos. The most powerful families at the beginning of this era ultimately fell into obscurity as lesser vassals picked them apart. It would not have been wrong at the time to say that the Dragatoan Empire was crumbling. The old imperial state certainly no longer existed. At the lowest point, around the 50th millennium of the interstellar calendar and the 20th millennium of the Long Strife, no government of any relevance controlled more than a handful of planets, and the majority of worlds were not even unified under a single ruler. Oh, hey, welcome back.
Hello, I finished making my soup, and then I saw you guys were still talking, so I figured, yeah, fuck it.
Okay. Well, we're in the middle of this comment, so here we go. Some of these states even attempted to throw off the guidance of their feudal guardians altogether, experimenting with an old dream of the common class known as democracy. These democracies always ultimately failed after mere centuries due to the inability of the masses to restrain their base instincts and maintain competent self-governance, giving themselves over in the end to the power of narrow-minded corporate lobbyists and populist demagogues who were every bit as oppressive as any feudal lord could have been. As time would prove, the final fate of every democracy was to collapse under massive social unrest and be swallowed up by feudal states that pounced on them in their time of weakness. By the 52nd millennium IC, these experiments had ended with the democratic ideal thoroughly discredited.
Oof.
Though this decline was the norm for much of the long strife, a number of feudal states were able to stabilize themselves as their ruling houses finally realized that the continued breakdown of unity would not ultimately benefit them. While none were yet prepared to recognize an emperor, each of these states did at last appoint a king among themselves. Most of the kingdoms formed in this way eventually dissolved, as the interests of royalty and nobility ultimately failed to align, but some were able to commit to a mutually satisfactory constitutional foundation that would hold their houses together. These last kingdoms endured, and whether through war or diplomacy, slowly but steadily added the petty states of the empire to their holdings. By the 59th millennium, the minor states were a thing of the past, and the imperial galaxy was ruled by what history refers to as the 16 Great Kingdoms. The last 2 millennia of the long strife known as the 16 Kingdoms period will be our next subject. There you go. I really make my lore cheery. Yes, you do, Lux. Yes, you do.
Definitely not like a veiled analog of the United States.
What kind of soup is it, Aiden?
I was typing out the answer. It is a vegetable soup that has like barley in it. Oh. And then to that, I added some of the rotisserie chicken I just got.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
And also some red pepper flakes, a shit ton of black pepper, and like a little bit of salt.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, that's it. That's all the comments. Which means
happy to help, guys.
You did it. Thank you.
It was me. I did this.
You did this. Yes. Well, let me tell you guys about a few things. There are a couple of things that we have going on around here. One of them being the show. The second one being the Patreon for the show. We, like every single person on YouTube, have a Patreon that you can go and look at and subscribe to if you would desire to. As well as going over to the Ko-fi to do the exact same thing for the exact same benefits if you would like to. And of course, as little as $1 a month, I realized that I didn't have the audience tab open, so I'm totally not stalling for time while I get that all set up so that I can read out the names of all of our lovely patrons who give us money to do the show. That being, of course,
our employers, one might say.
Our producers.
Don't give them that kind of power.
The table flippers themselves, these ones in the gold tier 4, being Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Rick, aka Unit Rico, Slazer, and Steely. Thank you so much for all of the money that you've been giving us for years now.
Wasn't Steely our first ever patron?
I believe so, yes. I believe so.
Because I believe when you said, "Oh, guys, we have our first patron," it's Steely.
I believe so. Yeah.
I just went okay and like committed it to memory.
Yeah. Exactly. So thank you so much for all of your generous support over the years. Fucking hell. It's been years. And of course, thank you to Crimson Rose Armok, aka Lux, at tier 2. Thank you. And finally, last but not least, a thank you to our tier 1 contributor. Going on there, looking at all the benefits and stuff, you can find them, you know them at this point if you've been around for years like these ones have. And join it if you want to and you're financially able to, if you know, whatever. Of course, you can also go over to our lovely little website, click this little support us thing to bring us to the things that I'm talking about, as well as these custom dice. Whoa, crazy, $15, you could buy them. Whoa, I still have all 99 sets behind me. Buy them. You're fine. Up to you if you want them. They're out there. They're here. I will send them to you personally. And other ways you can support, of course, going over to TeePublic and getting the logo on whatever you want through there. As I will continue to state, because I'm not biased, don't get it on a poster because it blows it up to a degree that you can see little blotches that aren't very appealing. But everything else looks good. So yeah, do that. And finally, last but not least, of course, you can go over to Humble Bundle using our link in the description. As with all of our links that are in the description, but this one specifically, you can utilize it to buy whatever you want through Humble Bundle, whether it be through the choice, through the store, through the actual bundles themselves, and you can support us as well as Tabletop Alliance, who is also linked in the description, so you can find out about their charity work that they do with tabletop things, and do all the sliders and stuff. Very cool. At this very moment, do they still have it? They do have this, the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Bundle from Cubicle 7 again.
Nice.
That's a good one. That's 19 things for $25. That's pretty good, considering it would be a lot more to get all of these on their own. So go get that if you would like that. Do they have... There was the other one that I was thinking of, but I don't know if it's still there, so I'm going to see if it's there before I mention it. Yeah, the Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics Mega Bundle 2 is still there. If you're into Dune, the Dune Adventures Tabletop RPG is there from Modiphius. Yeah, a lot of good tabletop things right now. So nice. Go check them out. The choice bundle is a little at the moment, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Saints Row. Don't worry about that right now. But other than that, I mean, get whatever you want from the store as well. Fucking there you go. I think that's all those things. Another reminder that poll is still out there for everybody to look at and do. At the moment, Cyberpunk is winning over Vampire. So we'll see if that maintains to the end of Devils and Dice. We shall see. We shall see. Plenty of time for you to vote on that if you haven't yet. But yeah, that's everything. We did it. That's the show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us for another week. Hopefully this week I will have a little bit more energy, time, and willpower to do more things. I want to start building the night. I want to play more Yakuza. I want to open my cards. I've had these Digimon cards sealed, ready for me to open for so long.
So it's like a booster box of nice, dude.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Do you know the rare? Like, do you know the rares structure?
I don't know yet. No, I need to find that out beforehand. But that's been a thing that I've had for months now, just waiting to do that I haven't done.
Yeah,
so
card
that's a
openings
whole
are
thing.
super fun.
They're super fun, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but don't worry. At the very least, the banned Devils and Dice episodes are going to be going back up as re-uploads, so you'll be able to watch through the whole playlist without interruptions, except for those times where it gets muted on occasion.
Yeah.
And it sounds a little muffled and weird. But other than that, just fine. So please be excited. Anyway. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Get the fuck out.
Go on.
We've been this has been the energy in the room has been you leaving. And you've not been doing that, and like we're stalling for it. Please leave.
The door is right
We will
over
see
there.
you next week.
Yeah.
How rude.
It will happen.
Goodbye. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you. Yeah, please go. Have a
Alejo
good
is trying to communicate that he no longer wants you here.
Oh no.
Alejo, I'm speaking for you.
Ah.